Good morning, everyone. We will begin our program shortly. Please be seated and turn your phones to silent mode to prevent any interruptions from disrupting the day's proceedings. We hope all of you have collected the campus map and schedule along with your name tags. If you're unsure of where to go, please reach out to our student volunteers.
To our respected teachers, counselors, university delegates, and attendees, welcome to the 2024 IC3 Regional Forum, hosted by the International School Bangalore. I am Arjun Gupta, a grade 11 student at TISB.
And I am Ritika Nambiar from grade 11. We are proud to welcome you to the International School Bangalore as hosts of the 2024 IC3 Regional Forum. We request everyone to connect to the guest Wi-Fi and explore the IC3 Movement mobile app for easy access to the schedule, networking with fellow attendees, and engaging during and after the forum. Wi-Fi password and QR code to the app is at the front of the event brochure. Please note that the Wi-Fi range is within the main auditorium and the Galleria. Please be seated and ensure that your phones are turned to silent mode to avoid any interruptions during the day's proceedings. We would like to introduce two key members of the IC3 community, Ms. Dhwani Dodeja, a passionate school psychologist and a certified hypnotherapist. She is the academic manager at the IC3 Institute.
And here we have a wildlife enthusiast and a voracious reader, Mr. Yogeshwar Nevalkar, the events manager of the IC3 movement. The IC3 movement is committed to empowering schools, sensitizing them about their responsibility in providing guidance, and empowering them with the training and resources for their teachers and staff to effectively help students contextualize learning. This is why counseling in every school is the heartfelt mission of the IC3 movement. Today, IC3 has over 1,400 volunteers from more than 60 countries. It is this volunteer-led and volunteer-driven effort from individuals across the globe who provide the true meaning to the IC3's mission. It is really you who makes this movement impactful and life-changing. We depend on connection, community, and care to ensure the mission grows and touches every corner of the world. Remember, you are IC3, I am IC3, we are IC3, and we cannot thrive without each other.
The IC3 Regional Forums are in-person events organized by the IC3 regional committees and bring together leadership and staff from high schools in local regions for a focused dialogue on the significance of career and college counseling as an integral function in schools. Today's forum is one of a global tapestry of forums taking place all over the world in 2024. In 34 cities, 5 regions, and across 15 countries to be exact. Those countries include India, Qatar, UAE, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Uganda, Malaysia, Colombia, Kazakhstan, Brazil, Costa Rica, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Singapore. Today, you are not just attending an event, you are part of an effort to truly change the world.
We would now like to take a few minutes to introduce our school, TISB. We are proud to be a part of this collective effort as it aligns with our far-reaching vision and constant attempts to raise the bar for ourselves. TISB, recently voted number 2 in India for boarding schools, has a large, thriving community with impeccable systems in place to scaffold the rigorous academic standards and implement a holistic vision of education. We pride ourselves on faculty that train us to lead, and as a result, we are some of the most prestigious student-led initiatives in India. Whether it is academics, sports, or culture, TISB students are at the forefront, creating platforms for communities of students to collaborate and create. Now, on the brink of our silver jubilee in the year 2025, TISB has plans in the anvil that are full of promises for another long and industrious chapter in education.
Before we proceed, IC3 would like to acknowledge and extend its gratitude to all sponsors and partners of the 2024 IC3 Regional Forums for their generous support and commitment to career and college counseling. IC3 would like to acknowledge the 2024 IC3 Regional Forums co-hosts, Flame University, RV University, Texila American University, Guyana. These institutions are at the forefront of advancing IC3's mission of counseling in every school, paving the way for numerous school-based counselors, principals, and teachers worldwide to access essential professional development opportunities.
The IC3 movement, in collaboration with counselors and educational leaders around the world, are proud to present the second edition of the IC3 Counselors Resource Handbook. This manual follows its predecessor in evolving, executing, and evaluating career counseling services in higher education settings. This manual will be available for high school counselors at the end of the forum and available online for everyone after the forum. We will take this moment to present our first Discover the Co-host video featuring Flame University, a pioneer of liberal education in India. This university's main objective is to offer an interdisciplinary platform of education that provides both breadth and depth in diverse areas of knowledge.
Welcome to Flame University, where education meets excellence. Our commitment to academic rigor is unwavering, fostering critical thinking and innovation. Beyond academics, we nurture well-rounded individuals who explore their passions. Our world-class sporting facilities empower students to excel in sports and fitness. Meet the future leaders and innovators who choose Flame as their education destination. Guided by accomplished faculty, our students embark on a transformative journey. Our sprawling campus is a haven for learning and growth, Flame University, where dreams take flight. Join us on this extraordinary journey.
The commencement of our gathering today is marked by a cherished tradition, the lighting of the lamp. We are absolutely honored to invite our guests, Mr. Ritesh Singh, Mr. Ganesh Kohli, Dr. Bindu Hari, Dr. Caroline Pascoe, and Mr. KRV Panikar to grace the occasion. May the radiance of the lit lamp kindle in each one of us the immortal flame of knowledge and of understanding. The fire is a metaphor of our resolve to dispel darkness and spread light, echoing the immortal words, Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya, which means, from darkness, lead me into light.
Our sincere gratitude to our guests for setting the tone and energy for the rest of the day. As members of the TISB community, one of our core values is embracing diversity. We now present to you a dance performance that embodies the same theme, a fusion of Bharatanatyam and Kathak, two of the oldest Indian classical dance forms. This is a celebration of two traditional Indian dance forms, choreographed and performed by our grade 11 and 12 students. Please welcome Alekya Sen Gupta Banerjee, Netra Baragu, Nidhi Nambiar, Kaveri Gadre, Muskan Mittal, and Bhumika Sureka.
मेरे ढोल ना सुन मेरे प्यार की धुन मेरे ढोल ना सुन
सानी धा नीधा मा मग सनि धनि सगमा sani dani saga maga sani dani saga ma ga sani da maga ma dani sani da maga ma dani sa ni dani sa dani sa dani sa dani sa madani 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 dani sa dani sa dani sa madani 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 sa madani sa madani sa madani sa sani dama sani dama sani dama sani dama mama gaga sa sani ni sa sani ni da da ni ni sa sani ni da da mama gaga sa sani ni da da ni sa 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 ni da sa sa sa
मेरी धड़कनों की सरगोशी मेरी धड़कनों में बजती है
मेरी जागती निगाहों में ख्वाहिश तेरी ही सजती है
मेरे ख्याल में हर पल तेरे ख्याल शामिल है
लम्हे जुदाइयों वाले मुश्किल बड़े ही मुश्किल हैं
ओ पिया
नि सा नि सा नि सा नि सा धनि 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 बदा 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 गमा बदा नि सा pani ni sa pani ni sa pani ni sa pani ni sa gama pada ni da pada ni da pada ni sa gama pada ni da pada ni pada gama gama ni sa ni sa ni sa gama ga sa gama pada pada ni sa gama pada ni da pada gama gama ga ni sa ni sa ni sa gama ga sa gama pada pada ni sa ni sa ni sa ni sa ni sa ni sa gama pada ni da pada
Thank you for that absolutely breathtaking performance. We would now like to invite our school principal, Dr. Caroline Pascoe, to please present the welcome address.
Good morning, everybody. Ooh. Good morning. And a big wave if this is your first time to TISB. Come on, everybody, wake up, big wave. Right, well, very warm welcome to you all. And the video didn't quite explain it, but we have over 300 boarders on campus and nearly 100 staff who live here. And as we're sitting inside, there is football matches going on against a neighbouring school, Greenwood. There's a hockey match going on. There's PYP, or the primary teachers are having a 2-day IB course, which they're having over in the other block. And many of the boarders are going shooting, horse riding, and lots of other activities are going on. So I think the message that I want to give you, first of all, is all that energy and activity is happening outside, and we want it inside as well, in all our sessions as well. So I hope that your participation and your activity and your embracing the sessions will be just as energetic as outside. Now, I was introduced to IC3 actually only last year through our college counselling department. And I have to say, of all the organisations I belong to, IC3 is probably the most collaborative and shows great teamwork and is actually the most welcoming. And I think the common characteristic that we all have in this room as educators and as college counsellors are that we are givers. We spend the majority of our time prioritising and meeting the needs of other people, whether it's our colleagues, whether it's the students, or indeed parents. So today, I think this is an opportunity for us to actually be a little bit selfish and think and reflect upon our own roles. And also, I hope at the end of the day that you take plenty of takeaways away with you. So I hope you can be takers today. Well, I thought I'd kickstart this regional forum by giving my interpretation of the IC3 mantra of competition to competency. And also I want to maybe suggest why we need to wake up and truly embrace this transition. And I hope I won't be too controversial this morning. Well, we all love a cup of tea. And actually, I have to thank India because modern Britain could not function today without a cuppa, so thank you for that. Indeed, around the world, a cup of tea serves many functions and purposes, in particular as a collaborative and community ritual. Now, I have 2 antique tea sets from my grandmother at home, but actually, I would never dream of using a cup and a saucer nowadays. They're cumbersome, not appropriate to our rushed, busy, mobile lifestyle, and it is more dishes to clean. So isn't it interesting how things have evolved? The outcome, which is the need for a sugary tea, remains the same, but the way that we drink it and deliver it has evolved and changed. The same goes for our education system. We can package it up in a variety of ways: ICSE, CBSE, IB, inquiry-based, concept-based, activity-based, rote learning. But the outcome of summative assessment grades remain the same. And I'm sure in your schools, regardless of how we package our curriculum, you all do the same as we do here at TISB. We encourage, motivate, badger, develop competition, provide interventions for our students to gain the best summative assessment grades as they can. And we create an illusion that these grades will define your future. And I know there are students listening to me, so I need to be careful. However, This timeless process of examination grades is being surrounded by a new educational landscape. Up until now, we have successfully integrated past and current priorities into a new society, even though education is a very slow evolving beast. My worry is that this cannot continue to happen, otherwise very quickly education will be outdated and we will be doing a disservice to our young people and de-skilling our youth so that they cannot face the future. And I say this for two main reasons. Firstly, 2 years ago, Harvard conducted some research and interviewed 10,000 10 to 12-year-olds in 17 countries. And 75% of the children interviewed thought the future was scary, with climate anxiety being the biggest cause of depression and indeed apathy amongst young people. And I'm sure that you are also witnessing in your schools the students who show anxieties about global issues that are beyond their control, who overcomplicate their lives by worrying about issues that never existed a few years ago, or the student who is struggling to find a place in their world because of anxieties, or dare I say it, a lack of purpose. I think education of the future has to have a commitment, a committed purpose to help our young people make sense of the world and the information they're exposed to. There are so many questions and challenges now as to how we can live a full life and a fulfilling life. Through our outreach work, already we are seeing, and it is happening certainly in the UK and in parts of India, that to solve local challenges, people do not wait for government officials or the scientists or the experts, but they are collaborating and often figuring it out for themselves. Which makes me question what behaviors, what values, what competencies and abilities young people now need to enable them to confront collective challenges, to allow them to ethically problem solve, and to give them a sense of purpose and belonging. Secondly, the impact of AI that's been in our schools. Just in a matter of a term, we've noticed a huge and enormous difference. And I am sure that we're all trying to catch up with how our students and indeed staff are using it. I'm excited about these changes, but it is also allowing me to question what knowledge is relevant and what knowledge is important now. It questions as humans, what are we able to do with the knowledge that we have, and what is the truth? AI is able to find the knowledge and make decisions faster and more reliably. So I am sure that eventually education will lose the bias towards knowledge, facts, and information and focus more on our individual and group capabilities. How we are being human towards each other. What are our ethical capabilities? How we collaborate, connect, and provide empathy. And I come across, my son has recently finished a master's in design thinking, and I was one of those parents which you all meet on a daily basis. You know, what relevance is that? How's that going to help him get a job? All those sort of things I went through. But he introduced me to two concepts which I'm now reading a lot about. And one is planetary well-being, and I'd urge you to Google it and research about it. And the other is creative intelligence, which is a new form of intelligence that has now become part of our contemporary dialogue in education, and which I think will become prominent for us as humans in our AI-driven future. So on behalf of everyone here, I'd like to thank Ganesh and IC3 for in many ways being trailblazers and for preempting this new world and for giving us the inspiration to look beyond just examination results and college placements, but to focus on the true essence of the individuals and the young people that we're working with and guiding. So please make the most of your day and, of course, enjoy your cup of tea. Thank you.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Dr. Caroline. It was informative to hear of your perspective on the changing educational landscapes in the modern world. We would please request Dr. Caroline to now come up and hand over our token of appreciation to the guests. We would like to request our guest of honor, Mr. Ritesh Singh, to please come forward for felicitation. Mr. Singh is the Principal Secretary, School Education and Literacy Department of the Government of Karnataka. Mr. Singh comes with an impressive academic journey, an engineering degree from IIT Kanpur to a master's at Harvard University. His dedication and passion has left an indelible mark on the educational landscape. Mr. Singh's visionary leadership and unwavering commitment to the betterment of education have transformed the learning experience for countless students. Mr. Singh is devoted to improving the quality of education in government-run schools of the state of Karnataka. Thank you, Mr. Singh, for gracing us with your presence today.
Now, we would like to invite the founder of the IC3 movement, Mr. Ganesh Kohli. He is a teacher, counselor, entrepreneur, and lifelong learner who has founded, nurtured, and led multiple education-focused organizations. Mr. Ganesh's endeavor to bring meditation and mindfulness to millions of people in the execution of their work and everyday lives led him to create the AHA movement.
Thank you, Mr. Kohli. Next, we would like to invite the Vice Chairperson and Director of NPS Schools and TISB, Dr. Bindu Hari. Dr. Bindu brings a wealth of experience and a forward-thinking approach to our school. She is not just an administrator, but a mentor and advocate for each student's success. Under her leadership, our school has flourished as a hub of learning, innovation, and personal growth.
Thank you, Dr. Bindu. And now, we would like to invite the Finance Director of TISB, Mr. KRV Panikar. Mr. Panikar is an enthusiastic, dedicated, and self-motivated finance and accounts professional with more than 40 years of experience, spanning finance, accounts, business analysis and strategy, business development, and business applications. Let's all extend a warm welcome to Mr. Panikar with a generous round of applause.
Thank you, Mr. Panikar.
Thank you, Dr. Caroline.
We would now like to invite our school director, Dr. Bindu Hari, to please address the audience. Please turn the podium mic on.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. A very, very warm, can I have the house lights on, please? It's always feels better when you can see the audience. A very, very warm welcome to each one of you, principals, college counselors, there are teachers here, all my favorite people. You know, people I've journeyed with all of my lives, and I hope you enjoy today. It's about networking, it's about learning, and I hope you benefit from all of those sessions that have been organized for you today. Very warm welcome to Mr. Ganesh Kohli. Absolutely passionate about what he does, founder of the IC3 movement. It's what our students need, and you're right in the center of it, so thank you for being here. I would urge you at some point, if you haven't, to watch his TEDx talk, where he draws an analogy between a college counselor who's akin to an aircraft navigation system. That's what his, that's what the talk actually begins with, but very, very fascinating because it applies to each one of us here. Mr. Ritesh Kumar Singh, thank you for being here today. In the midst of challenge lies opportunity, and that is what his life's motto is. So in education in India, it's one of the most challenging times that one can find oneself in, and that's essentially what he does. to chart the course of education in this country at this point in time when NEP has just been released, when NCF is out as well. So those of you in international schools but also running an Indian curriculum, please feel welcome to ask him a few questions on the course of education in India tomorrow, and he'd be happy to answer those questions. He can make a difference, right? He's with the government, and so you can take advantage of it as well. One of the situations we constantly find ourselves in as teachers, as educators, as college counselors is how confusing this time is in the period of life of our students, transitioning from school into college. And they always wonder what those decisions should be based on, interests or inclinations, skills, parental input, peer influence, popular opinion, careers for the future, right? Interesting courses that universities are opening up, should they be taking that on? It's extremely confusing, and you have such an invaluable role to play in the lives of these young people. Anecdotally, we've seen students choose data science and then realize after a year that's not the course that they wanted to do and shift into data analytics, right? So could college counselors and universities together play a role where we can chart the future of these children far more productively and make it easier for them? And that's the role that we have. So as a compass in the life of these young people, you provide the direction, and I wish you all the very best. Your role is extremely critical. So I'd like to wish you all of the very best. You're also going to see tremendous change over the next 10 years in India. India has just opened up to the world, asking and inviting the first top 500 universities in the world to come into India and set up their campuses. And these are not training programs, none of that. So we will see some dramatic change happening in that area as well. Perhaps not immediately, but over time, definitely. And so it makes your jobs even more interesting in your work with your students, right? So all the very best to each one of you. Hope you enjoy the day. To Mrs. Priya Gupta and her team for putting this together, and the entire TISB community for hosting them, thank you so much. We do it for our students, for the love of our students, and thank you for all the effort and enthusiasm with which you've organized this whole event. Thank you. All the very best.
Thank you for that speech, Dr. Bindu. We appreciate your insight on how college counseling will help shape our future as students. For our second Discover the Co-host video, we present RV University, a technology-driven, new age, liberal education university. They are strongly committed to bridging the gap between industry expectations and the graduate attributes of their students. Enjoy watching the co-host video.
The vision of RV University is to be a world-class, tech-driven, global university for liberal education. RV University strives for excellence in teaching, research, capacity building, and community engagement. It offers 45 programs across its 6 schools dealing with liberal arts, design, economics, business, computer science engineering, and law. Come, explore, engage, and excel. Let's go change the world.
We have another student performance for you by Jasmine Bhanushali, an internationally acclaimed ballet dancer. She will be performing the Paquita Pas de Trois, Girls' First Variation. Thank you, Jasmine, for that beautiful performance. We are now proud to invite Mr. Ganesh Kohli, the founder of the IC3 movement, to enlighten us with the mission of this organization. Please turn the podium mic on. Please turn the podium mic off. Mr. Ganesh Kohli will be using the cordless mic instead.
Right, good morning, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. And this is a large group. I feel like we are at the annual conference. We have 2,000 people typically there, but thank you, Caroline, for hosting this. Dr. Bindu Hari, thank you for having us. And we always heard about TISB, a lot of us, as being a pioneer with education, school education for many, many years. And it's good to have an IC3 regional forum at TISB, and we're grateful for that. We have a very simple mission at IC3, counseling in every school, purpose for every child. That is really our mission. We're not talking about life purpose, we're talking about purpose in everyday life. And our goals are to sensitize, elevate, and develop. Sensitize an entire community on the criticality and need of career and college counseling as a central function in school, not a peripheral function. When I was growing up, counseling was mostly behavioral counseling or social emotional counseling. A little later, counseling became it was an exercise in sending the rich kid abroad. But it is actually much, much more than that. College applications and college admissions is only 10 or 20% of what counseling is. What we're talking about is counseling as a central function in schools, where every teacher in school is a counselor. First a counselor and then a teacher. That every teacher in school provides context and meaning. That every teacher in school answers questions every moment on who will use what I'm teaching, where will it be used, and how will it be used. That every sports day becomes more purposeful, that every annual day becomes more purposeful, that every student performance becomes more purposeful, and that we're finding meaning in everything that we do. The same kid who waited for the last bell in school waits for the weekend at work. The same kid who got bored in school got bored in work. 84% of our working population is actively or passively disengaged at work. They're talking about work-life balance, where work is the punishment I have to endure for a life at the end of it. Morning to evening is the torture, evening the Netflix thriller is the reward. The weekend is the reward for a week of torture. And this all began in school. Our research is showing this. That at the time when the neocortex or the thinking brain was developing, how could we have lost these kids? And it's important to know that counseling is at the heart of everything that schools need to do. It takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to counsel a child. Every teacher needs to be a counselor, and counseling impacts learning outcomes. You'll have more people go to IIT without going to a coaching institute if you got this right. Counseling mitigates attention span issues. Counseling mitigates mental health well-being issues. We had more students commit suicide in India in 2021 than farmers. And we've really industrialized, commercialized, commoditized education to levels that are not seen before. And what we need is not more of AI. I mean, AI will do its work, as Caroline said, but we need the human touch. We need to humanize this whole process of mentorship and guidance. And so that's really at the heart of what IC3 is doing. And then we want to be able to elevate the profession itself. I don't know how many of us remember a body doctor we visited when we were in 8th grade. Anybody? You remember someone who gave you an injection or stitched you up? How many of us remember a teacher we met in 8th or 9th grade? Yeah. 60-year impact versus 6-day impact. Each one of you should have a doctor in front of your name at the end of today. I'll give you the title. You're all soul doctors. Actually, the greatest nation builders are in this room. They are the teachers. Whatever you say and do, you tell a 10-year-old something, it stays for 60 years. You tell a 10-year-old, the ghost will come, I'll give you to the policeman. At 40, he's buying insurance policy after insurance policy and still feeling unsafe. Because the filter hasn't developed. You tell a 25-year-old, the ghost will come, he'd say, are you crazy? There's no ghost, I know. But till the age they can vote or drink or drive or marry, why? Because the thinking brain is developing. Everything that we are doing and saying is having an impact. And therefore, every one of us needs to be a counselor. Principals have to be the greatest counselors. And every math teacher is a counselor, every history teacher is a counselor, every action of ours is having an oversized impact. And we actually connecting people. So we elevate our profession, we let people know how powerful they are, and we really bring people into embracing counseling as a culture, not an act. Counseling is not an act. Counseling is not one moment, one kid, one grade, one level. Counseling is actually a culture. We have the counseling laboratory pedagogy that actually drives that culture in schools. And I can tell you, it transforms everything in school. I can tell you the sports days and the annual days are done differently in schools where their counseling laboratory runs. And then develop the human resources. The IC3 Institute trains hundreds of counselors at zero cost. 1 year long, accommodation, meals included, zero cost. In Bangalore, Christ University is a host university. RV University is a host university. We have just now Symbiosis in Pune has come on board as a host university. We have IIT campuses offering their infrastructure to us. Our work is with full-time employees of schools. We want to empower school teachers to be able to deliver this function effectively. And all of our offerings are at no cost to the school teachers. And that's really the mission of IC3, to be the Khan Academy, really, if you'd like a comparison, for school teachers. And you rightly said, we need to really invest on ourselves. We need to look within and invest on ourselves. So I'm not going to speak too much because I was fascinated by the idea of, I spoke to Ritesh ji yesterday and I was like, oh my goodness, we have an IITian and someone who's gone to Harvard and who's come back and serving as an IS officer, and I was really keen to hear him. So I'm going to curtail this part of my talk and leave you with a video, but I'll come back at I think 10:10 or so and share with you a presentation on transforming schools through counseling. And part of that is really sharing the research with you. We have research where we've done work in Bastar, in Rewa in Madhya Pradesh, in Erode in Tamil Nadu, in Burundi, in Uganda. We will give you data. Counseling is compelling. Counseling impact, we are actually working on a research project on how career and college counseling, the way we define it, impacts climate change, how it impacts violence in the world, how it brings the focus on competence and therefore mitigates these challenges around competition. So I will share all of that research with you today. There's a lot of data that I have also, so that you can take back this argument for your school. But the three things that we do are training, research, and we do some events. Events are again aligned with the training and the research that we do. And we'll share more with you at the end of today in the Way Forward session. So my hope is that at TISB today, we'll sprinkle a lot of gold dust through the day. And we have some stellar academics. We have Professor Yugank here from Flame, and we'll invite some of them to just share perspectives as we go through the sessions as well. And we would really like you to gather all the gold dust through the day, so that at the end of the day, you can make a piece of jewelry. If you brushed all of it thinking it's just dust, we'd not have a piece of jewelry at the end of the day. And glamorous events achieve little if things don't change in school? Monday morning, how is it going to be different? That's the question we'd ask ourselves at 3 in the afternoon today. What are we going to do differently? So all of this gold dust you collect, we'll make a bracelet or a chain or a ring or whatever you'd like to make at the end of the day, and you can show that off on Monday. If there is no value added, and if there isn't any transformation that happens in our life next week, having attended this forum and beyond, we may have lost the day and the opportunity. So I'd encourage everybody to really gather all the gold dust that we can through the day. I want to leave you with this video. I'm going to leave all of this data on IC3 and our research and our resources to a little bit later. If you can switch off the lights, share this video, and then we can do the keynote right after that. Thank you. Be wise and help all beings impartially, abandoning none. Waste no opportunities. This is called following the light. Each one of us are nation builders. Each one of us are more important than any other professional out there. Career and college counseling is not about finding a career or finding a college. It is about finding purpose. Not finding life purpose, but finding purpose in everyday life. Pandemic in schools is boredom among children and seriousness amongst educators. Drop the masks a little bit during this conference. Let the smile come out a little more.
It's been a wonderful opportunity to meet so many people, to meet with educators who are so passionate about supporting their students and helping guide their careers. And I think it's a wonderful movement here and a wonderful chance for all of us to put students first, to continue to give them chances to be our next leaders.
The spark it has created in so many educators is phenomenal.
It has been so inspiring to meet amazing counselors from honestly around the world.
It's a brand new world now, and so I think counselors are essential to ensure that students know about all of the opportunities.
So humbling to see that there are so many people who are so knowledgeable and are willing to give away a wealth of knowledge just like that.
Even if I would have gone to the world's top universities, I wouldn't have got this kind of learning in any course in counseling as much as through conversations I've gained it from here.
IC3 is not a movement involving only elite schools and universities, but a diverse and inclusive community looking to serve and grow every year.
IC3 today has over 1,400 volunteers from over 65 countries, serving as leaders, advocates, and IC3 Institute champions. It is really you who make this movement effective, impactful, and life-changing.
Ubuntu, Ulu, I am because you are.
Counselors, if they are able to find passion in every individual in this world, we will see a very, very different world. And therefore, your job is the most important. Thank you very much for coming here and transforming the lives of young people.
Thank you, Mr. Ganesh Kohli. The IC3 movement has provided a positive impact onto our school amongst several other educational institutes. We hope to see the IC3 organization flourish in the future as it follows its endeavor of nurturing students across the world.
We will now present our final Discover the Co-host video featuring Texila American University, Guyana, a leader committed to excellence in research, education, and innovation. They take pride in bringing the most excellent physicians into society. Enjoy watching from the co-host, Texila American University, Guyana.
Texila American University, where education meets excellence. Experience the modern laboratories, where hands-on learning takes center stage. Embrace a vibrant community, diverse cultures, and unforgettable moments at TAU, while gaining practical healthcare skills alongside theoretical knowledge for the future. ChemHP and ACCM accreditation underscores the university's commitment to excellence in medical education, reinforcing its trusted status. Complete your medical education program in 5 years with 3 years in Guyana and 2 years in the USA. Your journey begins here.
We can now prepare ourselves for a mesmerizing musical interlude with Saina Agarwal's dulcet voice. Accompanying her on the piano is Arush Agarwal. Please welcome them with a round of applause.
You're broken down and tired of living life in a merry-go-round, and I can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gotta work it out and move mountains. We gotta work it out and move mountains. I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I'll rise up, I'll rise like the waves. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. ये तो उम्मीद की लहर है, ये तो आशा का सहर है, खो न जाएगी तारी ज़मीं पर, जैसे आँखों की डिबिया में निंदिया, और निंदियों में मीठा सा सपना, और सपनों में मिल जाए फरिश्ता सा कोई, जैसे रंगों में भरे पिचकारी, जैसे तितलियां फूलों की प्यारी, जैसे बिना मतलब का प्यारा रिश्ता हो कोई, खो न जाएगी तारी ज़मीं पर। हाँ, हाँ,
Give it up for our grade 11 students and future Grammy winners. That was beyond beautiful and melodic. Now, it's time for our keynote speaker for the day, Mr. Ritesh Singh. Please welcome Mr. Singh with a round of applause.
Use this, I'll use this. Do you need the clicker? No, I don't need it. Good morning, everybody. Dr. Bindu Hari, Dr. Caroline, Ganeshji, and all counselors, educators, principals, students. It was so fascinating to hear Ganeshji's talk. So I was wondering, what would you guys be interested in listening to a boring bureaucrat? So I wish you would have spoken a little more than what you did, Ganeshji. It was really so inspiring to listen to what you were presenting before all of us today morning. I would just like to share a small story with, I see there are students, and I remember what Dr. Caroline said, that when we are talking in front of students, we have to be a little more careful of what we are talking about. But still, I think this is a message that will resonate with students as well. So in Hindi literature, there's a very, very famous writer called Shivani. She was more like 60s, 70s, 80s, very, very famous personality. So Shivani ji was actually a student in Shantiniketan in the 30s. And at that time, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore was still there, and he was basically leading all the activities of Shantiniketan. And he was like the elderly grandfather for all these kids who had newly come, and it was a boarding school. So Shivani ji, I think, was about 10 years or 11 years, maybe even less than that, when she actually joined Shantiniketan. She didn't know a word of Bangla. And so Gurudev actually told her that if you want to fit into the school, you must start learning Bangla, and which she did. She was extremely bright. And so Shivani ji, her sister and her brother, all three kids actually, their parents sent them to Shantiniketan as school students. So, and Gurudev being the grandfatherly figure that he was, so all these kids had direct access to Rabindranath Tagore. And so after, I think, spending about a year there, there was a poem that was to be analyzed, an English poem by Keats. And Shivani ji used to always feel very inadequate in front of her brother, who was a couple of years older, but because it was an experimental kind of school, so all the kids were basically studying similar subjects. So she went to Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore and she tells Gurudev that, look, on this particular assignment, I want to beat my own brother. And if I write the critique of this poetry, I will not be able to beat him. So Gurudev, why don't you write it for me? So Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore said that, no, look, it's your work. You have to do it. I can't write it for you. But she was a kid, and Gurudev was like her grandfather. So she kept on insisting, no, Gurudev, you have to write it for me. And finally, Gurudev relented and said, okay, fine, I'll write it for you. And he dictated it to her, and she wrote it, and she submitted it. And the teacher was a PhD in English from, it doesn't say which university, but must have been from a big university, and he was an Englishman. And he graded the entire work. He, of course, didn't know that it was Gurudev's work that he was grading. And so Shivani ji got a 4 out of 10, and her brother got a 6 out of 10. And the teacher wrote that what Shivani ji has written is too elusive. So she went back with tears in her eyes to Gurudev, and she said that, Gurudev, I have got a 4 out of 10, and my brother got a 6 out of 10. So what is this? So Gurudev laughed, and he said, and he forbade her that, you are not going to disclose this to anybody. And she did that only after he passed away. And she has written about this in a book called Amader Shantiniketan, which basically means my own Shantiniketan, where she is reminiscing about the 10 years that she has spent there. So the message of the story is that even Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, who was a Nobel laureate in literature at that time, if being graded by the normal ways in which we evaluate the students' performances, was actually graded lower than a contemporary 7th grade student. So I can't imagine how important the work of counseling is in our society. Again, I was not sure if I would discuss this, but it's a small group, so I can probably say this without my alma mater getting angry at me. So I joined IIT Kanpur without knowing the very least what engineering or what computer science means. And I was so terribly unhappy there, I can't tell you. I was so terribly unhappy there. Those were the 4 years of my life where I, as Ganeshji was saying, that no direction, why am I here? I didn't enjoy programming at all. So luckily for me, I found something that I think I like doing my work. So, but again, 35 years back, there was no concept of counseling at all. So I am so very glad that this is something that actually is growing in India. But my request and what I discussed with Dr. Bindu Hari as well as Priya ma'am and Ganeshji is that the government schooling system in Karnataka, which we are very, very engaged with on a daily basis, we just don't have a system of counseling. I don't think counseling is only meant for elite schools. Counseling is very much required for our government schools as well. We have 45,000 government schools in Karnataka itself, 45,000, and almost about 50 lakh students, and 70% of all children in Karnataka go to government schools. So you can imagine the kind of reach the IC3 movement can have if it engages with the government schools. And I would like to use this opportunity to make a couple of proposals for your kind consideration. One is something I'm sure Ganeshji will say that, no, this is very, very easy. And so in Bangalore itself, we have about 20 very large government schools where there are more than 1,000 children studying in those schools. And these schools, because of lack of, and government always has an issue of constraint in terms of resources, time, etc. So, but these 20 schools are something that I would request the IC3 movement and all the counselors who are present here, is something that we should take up in the next academic year itself as a pilot project with the government of Karnataka, where we start a proper counseling process in government schools. And if we are able to scale it up, there's another very, very ambitious project of the state government. We are calling it the Karnataka Public Schools, where we are investing a huge amount of focused attention, both in terms of resources as well in terms of learning infrastructure and learning support. These will be about 500 schools or so, which are again the biggest schools in the state. They run from class 1 to class 12. And we are also looking at tying up these schools with a lot of CSR partners. So the CSR partners are going to come in and help us upgrading the school infrastructure. Our Chief Minister has given a call that all the CSR funds of companies who are operating in Bangalore should be channelized towards education for the next couple of years. And the industry also has responded extremely well. They are also very, very excited about this. And so that is one part, is the physical infrastructure. The other part is actually improving the learning systems in the school. So that is where a lot of the elite institutions can actually come in. And our Deputy Chief Minister has given a call to all the CBSE and ICSE schools, which have a huge number in Bangalore, that every school, and of course it also extends to IB schools as well, that every school should adopt one government school. So it's not just that you send some students there. So you will actually have to support us with, say, 1 or 2 teachers who are basically your own teachers who can come in our schools and teach for 6 months. And we can work out the details. So these are very, very exciting opportunities for all our elite institutions also to be a part of the larger nation building, because as I said, 70% of our kids are still in government schools. So we as a society have to make sure that government schools also give quality education to the children who are coming there. So that is something that I would like to request all of you to collaborate. My details are available with the TISB administration. Any school, even if you want to take up just one school, you are welcome. We are doing MOUs with a lot of private partners, with a lot of philanthropies, with a lot of socially oriented individuals who want to contribute in their personal capacity as well. In fact, some of our architects actually read about this in the newspapers, and they came forward. They said that we want you to. If you've seen a government school, there would be 4 or 5 different blocks constructed over a period of 20-25 years. It doesn't look like one school. So there are 3 rooms here, 4 rooms there, 2 rooms here. So we are actually roping in private architects to help us redesign the school, using the infrastructure that is already there, and also making sure that the school looks like one whole school. So we have a lot of private architects who are coming forward and saying that, well, I would like to volunteer for this in my private capacity. So every individual who wants to contribute towards this is more than welcome. We will facilitate, we will make sure that you have a very good and a very rewarding and fulfilling experience working with the government. And I wish the IC3 movement the very best, and a very warm welcome to Karnataka, and a very warm welcome to working with all our government schools.
And as a literature student myself, I found your words of wisdom extracted from the narration of a poet's student life extremely relatable and inspiring.
We're actually destroying our planet faster than we ever have. We have more violence in families, dysfunction in society. So something is an elephant in the room which nobody seems to be able to put their eye on, and that is purposefulness. That is guidance and mentorship and purposefulness. We're pretty much shaping our world through our children. Hitler was born a divine, beautiful being. If you saw 1-day-old Hitler, 2-day-old, 5-day-old, 3-year-old, something happened. Something happened. And so what we're saying is, counseling is not just about guiding kids, but it's in many ways a peace project. You're going to bring peace through counseling, because the moment I'm able to find my own competence, and that's the theme this year, competition to competence, I would be at more peace. I'm less likely to act out my frustration, my anger, my sadness, my disappointment. In many cases, very violent comparisons. We're comparing our children around the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they dress, the way they draw, the way they do math. This comparison, when it becomes acute, becomes competition in school, in high school, in different forms. And this competition, when it becomes acute, becomes violence. Counseling breaks this cycle at the competition level by bringing the focus on competence. So comparisons to competence. Yes, you may inadvertently get compared, but you will not go into competition because you will not keep acutely comparing your children. You will actually drift inward a little bit. So if I like sleeping as a boy or a girl in school, I just like to sleep. There's a career around that. You can study brain patterns, and there is a lot of people who are not going to be able to sleep. It's already a global problem. Any problem of the future is a career of the future. You love to gossip. Don't tell the kid that there is no world around gossiping. Yes, there is. You could be a radio jockey, and there is a lot of other stuff you can do around gossip. Or you're a peeping Tom. You like to look into other people's life. Become a spy or become an ethical hacker and, try and protect people's information. Careers are chosen through personal attributes, through inward view as much as through outward views. Choices have to be made every day by looking inward as much as looking outward. And that is the theme of IC3 in 2024, from competition to competence. We are not saying that you're competing with yourself to realize your highest potential. So I want to share with you some data. I'm going to skip these couple of slides. But each one of us is profoundly impacting the kids that we are speaking to. I already touched upon that a little bit. Unconsciously, without knowing what we're doing, we may be inspiring kids or discouraging them. A student never loves or hates their subject. They love or hate their teacher. It's not possible that a student is loving a subject or hating a subject. It is not possible. I'm telling you that it is not possible. Unless there is a physical disability or a developmental disability or a genetic issue, the child is born whole and complete, the brain is fully functional, and all aspects of the brain can develop in ways. And generally, I will not hate anything at that age because I'm very curious and I'm ready to absorb whatever is coming my way. So unconsciously, whatever the teacher is doing is having an impact. And then consciously, a teacher can also be guiding kids into a certain direction. They are presenting some facts and insights and, leading them into a college or a career and whatever else. But it's important to actually, look at how we are having an impact. And I said in the morning, 60-year impact we have. Whatever we are doing, we may not realize at this moment, but 60-year impact we are going to have. Every conversation, I know numerous examples in my own life and from the experience of others that one conversation turned it around for someone in school. One act of kindness of a Molly teacher, Molly Abraham, my math teacher, just not telling me you're a hopeless boy. Every teacher told me you're a hopeless boy. And one teacher did not tell me that. She said, son, we can do this. Come, sit down here. That one act of kindness changed. I could have been probably, I was an outstanding student in school, always standing outside class. But, that one act of kindness, I want you to know the power that we hold. And it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to counsel a child also, to mentor a child also. Those who, these larger-than-life counselors are not going to lead us to nirvana with career and college choices. A counselor that's inclusive, a counselor that can bring the school community together, a counselor that can help the school see how counseling is a central function, a counselor that can see how every teacher can play a role, a counselor that can actually be a pivot around whom the entire school ecosystem becomes a counseling ecosystem. Most people are obsessing about some application, Common App and UCAS and this choice and that choice, and then marinating in the success of a couple of kids who went to some glamorous institution. And that is detrimental to the general well-being. That's why 84% of the world population is unhappy at work. Because we have obsessed for too long. The president of Stanford at one point came from Stony Brook, the State University of New York. So what? In my time, I went to 469 US campuses. Some of the best were not the Ivy Leagues or the top 30, 40 universities. I don't have children, but if I had children, I would have never sent them to any of the universities that are known to everybody. There are such gems out there. But the fact is that we tend to marinate in a certain ecosystem. And so a counselor is not an instructor, advisor, but really someone who can bring light, who can get young people to find meaning and purpose in what they're doing. And they're really navigators. A math teacher knows all the math, an English teacher knows all the English. But a career and college counselor cannot know about all the careers, all the kids, how they're going to be, what their life situation is. 17,000 universities, 500 different career paths, 300 different entrance tests. Is a career counselor God's second avatar? After the Lord is the career counselor then. Math teacher, line drawn center from the center of the circle perpendicular to the chord, bisecting the chord 30 years back. Today it's bisecting the chord, tomorrow also. What does the math teacher change in school? The career and college counselor, everything changes. This year they are doing something, next year they are suddenly zero. The best counselors are the most humble. They are always sitting on a chair called I don't know. I want to know. Because everything changes. But an English teacher can even still afford to be a little bit arrogant. Because, you know, subjects that are disagreeing with verbs are disagreeing since the British days. And Renan Martin hasn't changed from red to any other color. It's still red in color. So we really have to understand that this function is very dynamic. It is not static. And it's central. The English teacher who can inspire their kid around a career, around life with a language, around being a storyteller, that is the English teacher who's also a counselor, who is a counselor. The math teacher who can bring all the math alive. A physics teacher, a math teacher, a chemistry teacher who can get a kid to see all the math, physics and chemistry in this bottle of water is going to produce more IITians and more people going to Caltech than the math teacher who says, do this sum and solve this problem. Show me the math in this bottle. Tell me what is the weight, what is the force that's being applied, gravitational force. Why is it more here at 3,000 feet? From sea level, what is the difference between the force applied on this bottle? Is there any difference in the gravitational force when I hold it here in this room or I hold it by the beach in Mumbai close to my home? You know, there is a lot that is, this room that we're sitting in is the best counseling room, the physics lab, the chemistry lab. You can learn everything. There's acoustics at play here. Sound waves are entering a microphone, getting modulated, transmitted, coming out, getting demodulated, coming out of these speakers. There's gravity. There is concave, convex lenses. Light rays are falling at every school physics concept can be taught. Every career around physics you can talk about here. With this chair, you can talk about the economics of weight, the economics of value. You can teach economics in this room. Why is this room created? What is the economic cost? What is the climate cost of all our actions? You can actually do everything in this room if you have a counselor's view. And if you can look at counseling as beyond the college application. And most counselors are reporting to us that they are very stressed because kids come for counseling when they are in high school in 11th or 12th grade and now they're panicky. Wait, this is not happening, this is not happening. It's not systemic. When counseling isn't systemic, when it doesn't start with parents getting involved in 8th grade and 9th grade and 6th grade, and when there isn't a newsletter going out to 6th and 7th grade. I was with a parent of Oberoi International School in Mumbai. In 4th grade, the parents are discussing she sent me the WhatsApp chat. Which universities will come to the school? 4th grade parents. This is completely people who are completely paranoid and misled. Because there was no active insights. Kids are sent off to Kota to do IIT coaching or some coaching institute in 8th grade, 7th grade. We can stop that through counseling. So it's not about giving definite answers, not about finding a college. It is about finding purpose. And this is what we're saying. Our model with IC3 is self-knowledge, knowledge of the world. You know, really combining those two. And counseling has to be both an inward-looking and an outward-looking process. And in the interest of time, since we lost 20 minutes, I'm not getting into too much detail, but there's a video on YouTube where I'm presenting all of this, if you'd like. And there's also lots of resources. So what is this model of counseling? And what is the counseling laboratory pedagogy? You can kind of really absorb it through videos as well. Essentially, the laboratory that we are referring to is not a physical space, but a culture that runs through, it permeates through school, and it allows for constant exploration, investigation. The chemistry lab, you're mixing the same chemicals for 20 years. I'm telling you, you go and check your chemistry lab requisition slips. They are the same chemicals that are being ordered. No school is willing to risk mixing new chemicals. They don't want an explosion in the chemistry lab and an accident. So they will make, so the real exploration will happen here. And I would encourage you to just look at what the ways are. The key to this is that it should not be a lone wolf effort. Parents, students, teachers, external stakeholders like universities, and the career and college counselor are all involved in the exploratory process. And what they're doing is running a laboratory to create a library of insights. So the L2 concept, which is, we teach this over a year. We get them to do projects, etc. And I'm going to show you some data from cohort members of the IC3 Institute. How many graduates of the IC3 Institute here? Anybody who's completed? Oh my goodness, 1 year program graduates, is that right? And how many are currently studying at the IC3 Institute? Wow. So I don't even have to, you know, they can tell you all this much better, and some of them are studying at, you know, at Flame University. We have Professor Yugang here also, and we have a bunch of other universities that are host universities of these cohorts. But what we're saying is that we're collaborating to conduct research and to mine insights. I always love to share my dentist example. I met a 26-year-old dentist in Hyderabad who said, I'm fed up of looking at ugly teeth for 5 years. I want to study hotel management. I said, of all the people, if only somebody had asked you to go and look into people's mouth when you were in 11th grade, you wouldn't have had gone through this torture. You know, I love my puppy dog and I want to become a vet, and suddenly I go to a vet's clinic for a week and I found these barking, angry dogs. He says, this is not what I like. I like mine, but these... There is all of this fascination about my friend's going to IIT, he's going to do, you know, this. Everything is outward. Competition is outside. Competence is within. And what is my competence? What am I good at? And a lot of this you discover through collaboration and through research. So 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders in the counseling laboratory pedagogy, they do projects. For whom? To solve a problem. A 12th grader struggling to convince his father about music and business. 8th graders will do research on the scale of music as an industry. 9th, 10th graders will do research on different careers with music, from music performance to music therapy, being used in hospitals to heal people. 10th, 11th graders will do, they are not doing research for themselves, but they are participating in this whole exploration, which allows them to see what is possible for them. And so, the cost of no counseling, our research is showing, is terrible. There's an economic cost. Parents are selling their land to send kids for tuition to some place. There is a social cost. There is a lot of mental health well-being costs. You know, countries are impacted by a lack of counseling. Nepal is one of the most impacted countries. We are working in Nepal for many years, and Rahul comes from there. He moved, actually. He has attended IC3 annual conferences. We have a colleague from Bangladesh who is now at, I think, Indus International School or some other school. Rahul, you're at Greenwood. Yeah, so, you know, we're actually seeing mobility in that very beautiful way. But I want you to know that there's a social cost, a well-being cost. You are seeing more student suicides than ever in this country. And in many parts, student mental health issues. There's a climate cost. And I talked about this cycle of violence, so I'm not going to dwell on this too much. But our kids aren't worried about what's happening in school. They're worried about what will happen after school. A lot of mental health distress is not often, nobody bullied them in school. But the comparisons is bullying them to make, you know, they're getting stressed about it. And these are the greatest challenges we face in school. The very definition of academic success. How do I know my physics? How do I know my history? I don't know my physics if I can solve a physics problem in an examination and get a score. Yes, that is important because of the way assessments are done. But really, if I can't see all the physics in my book in my life, I'm going to get bored. I'm not going to like it. And so counseling is really about that, making every academic book like Harry Potter, as exciting as a Netflix thriller. And teachers have not been trained to do that for the most part. And so definition of academic success is really being turned upside down. We're saying, if you can't show me what you are reading in your life, you haven't really academically succeeded. You haven't understood what you are studying. And then, just boredom and a lack of engagement. When your neocortex or your thinking brain is developing, and 40% of the human brain is the thinking brain. 3% in cats, 7% in dogs, 16% in chimpanzees. Can you imagine, until the age of 18 or 21, this is developing. This is the most important point in my life where I'm curious and excited about everything. I have adrenaline and all the hormones pumping in my body. I want to explore. I want to challenge. I want to question. Everything is happening to me. I pretty much am going to be shaped for the rest of my life by this time. And how can I get bored during this time when I'm so eager to take in new stuff? There's a research that showed that till the age of 7, a child can learn 26 languages. We learn through the wraparound concept after we are 20 or 25. What is the wraparound concept? And again, I worked with briefly with a professor at Dartmouth, Dr. Chris Jernstedt, and he's a brain scientist at the business school there at Tuck. And one of the things that I figured is this wraparound concept. If you want to learn Japanese, Maxim wants to learn Japanese, he's going to wrap it around English. He's going to translate everything into English, and then English to Japanese, Japanese to English, English to Japanese, Japanese to English. He's going to wrap around Japanese on English. But guess what? The kid doesn't do that. He actually learns through the senses. So till a certain age, he can take in. It's a flawed notion that a kid cannot learn multiple. He'll get confused. Have you heard parents saying, don't teach him too many languages, he'll get confused. Don't worry about that. He's not getting confused. And they've demonstrated this. We have the finest supercomputer. And they can actually learn. So how can kids be bored or not be engaged in school? Pressure of choosing some career, my time, engineering, medicine, or jail. 3 options. You don't want to go to jail, do engineering. If you're hopeless in biology, that's your only option. And then we are really celebrating. We must celebrate the great successes, but we must celebrate, in the 70s and 80s, if somebody passed, the whole village would get sweets. 60%. Today, 97, 99% also, they say, oh, I lost 2 marks. It's so tragic. So we really need to think about what's right for me. So 540 IC3 Institute cohort members worked with 5,000 plus students across 271 different schools in 15 countries to do counseling laboratory projects. We give them projects where they collaborate and they investigate and they discover. And we saw some impact of our work. We've begun to measure our work. Right? We began in 2016. We had the first cohort start at Ashoka University in August 2019. Since then, we have trained through the IC3 Institute several thousand individuals, but we've graduated 1,100 people from our programs. And we're continuing to scale our programs. And some of the research I'm sharing with you now is we are able to measure this stuff. Now we're able to actually see what is happening inside schools and in all kinds of schools. We have the richest schools in Dubai and the most marginalized schools in Jharkhand as part of our cohort, in the same cohort. And they're doing some real magic together. So we have seen improved academic engagement and performance.
We're seeing that they're ready for the future, they're building skills. Actually, career and college counseling, if implemented, is a skill development exercise. Physics becomes a skill rather than a subject. And it is very unique. Actually, if you understand, again, we don't have so much time today. Transforming systems and pedagogy, improved mental health and well-being. We saw improved relationship with parents. You know, one principal told me, I'm, sir, half the time in court, half the time in school. I said, what happened? He said, you know, I have 32 court cases filed against my school. I said, who filed? He said, 31 were filed by parents. They're always at loggerheads. How can you be against each other when your goal is common, right? And so I want you to just know that this is something that parents are our greatest assets in the counseling laboratory. The farmer parent, the uneducated parent, the sewage cleaner parent is very humbling. You need to honor every parent and bring them in to share their insights. It shapes the way your kids are going to look at life. And the counseling laboratory actually requires that. We have a module within the counseling, within the curriculum, which says working with parents. And how do you work effectively with parents? How do you make your 1,000 parents your greatest asset in the counseling exercise? That's an important part. And then empowering schools from marginalized communities, improved awareness of the role of sustainable development goals. We're consciously now trying to integrate that so that, you know, people are... So I'm going to skip some of these slides because I want to bring us back on schedule. How much time do we have for the break? I want just to have... so I'm going to skip this. You know, just a couple of examples. We got kids to go to and attend a college class in Delhi University. You know, they go crazy to get into Delhi University. And they actually, when they attended a session at Delhi University College, they said, no, I don't want to go to Delhi University. Even 100% score you would not want. So a lot of what they do, like this dentist who said, I'm fed up of looking at ugly teeth for 5 years. You just get them out there and get them to investigate. And it becomes part of your curriculum. It becomes part of your sports day preparation. You're actually preparing, it becomes part of, they'll go and interview the chef in your kitchen, you know. So I would encourage you to look at that. Complete academic integration is what we are talking about. Every teacher as a counselor, and holistically we are actually doing this. All subject teachers involved, social science teachers involved, alumni involved, and there are many examples and sheets, you know, where you are, the kid isn't doing well with something, you really got to ask them, what is it that worked for you, what did not work for you, and what is this leading to for you? And again, we don't have too much time here, but modified lesson plans include career skills and values learned. What are the values that I learned? You know, and which of these values match with my values? And we're not changing the duration of a session. It's the same 40 minutes, but it actually maps some of the values. And again, there's lots of data we have on what the improvements were and how students were academically excelling in situations that they were struggling in. And you can actually look at some of this data. I'm happy to share this presentation again in the interest of bringing us back on schedule. And skill development is a natural exercise. History is a skill. It's not a distant theoretical idea. History is actually a key element in making this world a better place. We learn from it. We don't just marinate in it. You don't look at history from the prism of, yes, you look at it from a prism of what happened, but you also look at it from a prism of what can we learn and how is that impacting my future. and how can I actually use history to have a career around a certain area, whether it is in diplomacy or it is in some other area. And so employability skills is something that we see, this is from the Army Public School in Jaipur, and this is all of these kids went through the process. They actually did some of these projects while they were in class 8, class 9, class 10. So they didn't come in paranoid in class 12 trying to get into college. Mental health and well-being, this is from the Peter J. Robertson Journal of Counseling, British Journal of Counseling. And essentially all mental health issues are born out of this feeling of powerlessness and a lack of control. And counseling allows for taking control, right? Every decision I have to make, even between a math Olympiad and an English elocution competition, is an important one for me at that stage. For the whole family, there is trauma or there is peace. And we're adulterating our kids if we aren't really providing them this. This is a student from Mithapur in Gujarat. He said, the project enabled me to identify negative or illogical patterns and overcome feelings of hopelessness and helplessness, and to develop a more positive outlook. There's a statistics that says that for every one kid that commits suicide, there are 86 who think about committing suicide or are very close. And there are 500-600 kids who are, who have this thought at least once. They aren't close, but they've had a thought. And there are thousands who are feeling low and they don't know how to deal with their stuff. And a lot of it has to do with what will happen to my future. What will happen to me in the future. 68% of the students improved mental health. Again, I'm skipping through these slides, but all subject heads create slight tweaks in the curriculum, not in the curriculum, but in their lesson plans, where very subtly they bring in all of this context into their classroom. And we saw this in Chandoli in Uttar Pradesh. The coaching institute there, the engineering coaching institutes reported a fall in enrollment. I said, who's doing some mischief here? Our business is getting affected. And then we found that this is Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya. And so many other smaller schools and less resource schools, we start to see that their choices change when counseling is there. They are now not on a borrowed path. They are on their own unique path. And lots of improvement in parent and school relationships. We saw that through the pandemic, post the pandemic. This is Zimbabwe, all around the world. We've seen parents and schools collaborate in ways that they've never collaborated. And that single area is counseling. It's around counseling, where in assemblies, there are 2-minute addresses by parents on certain careers, on certain life experiences. A farmer parent who never went to school can give you the most beautiful insights and share with you what it means to be on a farm at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun is at its brightest. And so we've never really leveraged fully the power of our parent body, especially in day schools, where we can do that. This is opening avenues. This is, Google Tao. We were in Bhalia in Uttar Pradesh. This is Gyan Pitika school. And they actually never really used, they used technology, but not always to make choices. And, their teachers weren't necessarily using it. We actually saw that for the first time, there were 2 kids who left the village to study outside. And they actually ended up in a polytechnic. Because counseling actually has an impact at every level. The most under-resourced. This is in Jharkhand, in Gomia, where we have a counselor who's trained through the IC3 Institute. And we actually saw kids choose B-Farm. They didn't know what pharmacy is, and they were volunteering during COVID, etc. So all of these case studies, and then again, the SDGs we integrate. I'm not going to show you these activities. I'm already 5 minutes behind. But I started 20 minutes late. So I've not done too badly. I've still managed to save us 15 minutes. We'll take questions through the day. I'll also come back to do the session on becoming the change, the way forward. And so we'll try to assimilate all that we learn through the day today and try and make that piece of jewelry so you can keep your molds ready. I believe we have a break planned, and I'll pass it back over. I'm not taking any questions right now. We'll do that in that last session. Actually, I was looking for you, Yugang. You want to just quickly say a hello, because Professor Yugang, and is from Flame University, and he's a stellar faculty. He's come here to be with us in Bangalore. I only learned about it a few weeks back, a couple of weeks back, but just a hello from you, and and then maybe they can interact with you in the break.
Thank you so much, Ganesh. In fact, Ganesh got to know that I'm coming here a few weeks back. I got to know just a few days back, actually. So, I mean, my schedules have been generally very crazy. It's such a pleasure to be here. I can see some familiar faces, some of you who had visited Flame. And we had a sort of short session, so sorry to have you go through the ordeal. Don't worry, that's not what I'm going to do here today. But just fascinated to be here. Thanks. I'm just lucky that I could be here to listen to the amazing things that IC3 is doing. I think I look at counseling in a similar fashion. So I come from an extremely, so here's an interesting thing. I did engineering, like most Indians. But like most Indians, I did not do my post-graduation in engineering. I did it in law and economics, law mainly. So I wanted to do law, but I wanted to do masters in law. But in India, universities did not want me to do law because I haven't done my bachelor's in. So I had to go to Europe. There's some Erasmus Mundus scholarship. They kind of found it exciting. This guy who's an engineer wants to do law, and so maybe this is the only reason we should take him. And after that, I did my PhD in economics. So I'm kind of running between disciplines. And I can tell you that I've never had a sustained mentor, so to speak, in my life. And that's something that I now feel I should have had. But I did have something that Ganesh mentioned in his discussion earlier. People who gave me some sort of life advice because I met them for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So I come from an extremely humble background. Like, we used to milk cows and ride donkeys back in my childhood. It's very, very unlikely, this trajectory. But this is because I met people who I now call counselors. They counseled me without knowing they were counseling me. You would like, do this, otherwise, you'll basically do nothing in your life. Do this. Somebody told me about that. There's some scholarship going on there. And one of the reasons why they were able to do this is because, and this is something that I wanted to mention, because I see there's a huge need for counseling students. But, and this is classic, this type of need emerges when there's a lot of noise in the system. I'm an economist, so I study noises, right? Noise in a more academic sense. So when there is a huge amount of noise, then you need these, you need counseling extensively. And Harvard Business Review ran an entire series on why leaders also need coaches. So I see counselors as coaches more than, and this is the feeling that I'm getting through this, conversation since I'm here, since I've been listening since the morning. And this coaching means that more than finding, what these people did to me is not to tell me what to do in my career, but asked me questions that made me know who I am. And that allows me to figure out my career myself. And I think that is, so the reason why we need counselors more than ever is because the noise out there is so large that kids don't listen to who they are themselves. And this is something, I'm not making a philosophical statement. It's a simple question. It's like, what do you want to do? This question back in my days were very standardized, like engineering or medicine or something. What do you want to do? But that's not, you heard the principal secretary who did not like computer sciences. And, despite going there. Now with so much of noises, it becomes even more complex. So earlier you would rely on the society. I don't want to take a long time, but basically the point I'm trying to make is the job, and this is something that I continuously see huge value that counselors need to add in the system, is for kids to know who they are. And the courses, the careers that they want to take, somehow figures it out. Universe decides that once you know who you are. And in that sense, I think, Ganesh, the philosophy with which you have, the SED specifically. So thanks a lot for having me over, and it's actually, my good fortune that I could be here. Thank you.
Thank you, and we look forward to interacting with you.
Thank you, Mr. Kohli, for this inspiring session on the importance of finding the competence within. TISB alumnus from 2018 batch and working in the investment banking and finance sector. Unfortunately, Shubhi will not be able to join us today due to health issues. This session will be moderated by Ms. Dhwani. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Yeah, better. I barely can see anyone here. Okay. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Let me welcome today's panel. Let me welcome today's panel on navigating the journey from a student to professional. Today we have privilege of hearing the insights from two distinguished panelists, Kishan and Shreyas, who have successfully transitioned from their student lives in TISB to thriving professionals in their respective fields. So welcome. To kick off this discussion of ours, I would ask both of y'all certain questions related to your journey from a student till being successful industrialist now. And further on, later we'll take on some questions and answers with the audience. So, may I begin with asking a question to Kishan. How did you transition from being a student to a successful professional in your industry? And if you could just tell us a little about your journey.
Good afternoon, everyone. It feels surreal to be back here to TISB after 10 years. Good to be part of this panel discussion. I think it will raise some good awareness to the issues you're bringing up today. My transition from a student to my career is pretty unconventional. I actually did my major in business and finance, but my job right now is to do more with civil engineering in the real estate industry. So you can say, hey, it's almost like a 360-degree flip from what I learned in school or college to what I'm doing now. So I learned on the job. My learning was on the job. What people would have learned in college, I had to learn while working. Although it sounds tedious, it sounds like it was, I don't know, wasted my first 2 years, but I feel that along with the theoretical knowledge I would have got, I also learned with practical knowledge. So that helped me, actually put in practice what I learned in theory at the job itself. So yeah, that was my transition from what I did or studied to what I am doing right now.
Amazing. So I think we've heard about this, that, people transition. And again, it resonates with our theme for this year, which is like from competition to competence. So it's more about building and learning skills as compared to being into theoretical or academically oriented. So my next question to Shreyas is, what are the skills or knowledge that you have acquired during your education time? And do you find that those are very valuable in your current role?
No, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I think this is such a relevant topic. And it's something that I discuss quite passionately behind closed doors, so I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to speak and share with all of you. So, just to give some context, the college that I attended in the US, Haverford College, was the only liberal arts school that I applied to among many other engineering schools. And I chose to go to Haverford not because I was having second thoughts about computer science or engineering, but because I wanted to create that exposure for myself to be surrounded by peers and faculty who are pursuing different disciplines. And I think, the multidisciplinary nature of my undergraduate curriculum has greatly benefited me today to think in a holistic fashion and think about things from different perspectives. And just to give you an example, I mean, one of the companies that I run today, Numeros Motors, we are a electric vehicle manufacturing company. And typically, when people think about electric vehicle manufacturing companies, you think about consumer products, people coming out with cool new features which are very relevant for consumers. But that's not necessarily our market. We are focused on people who are looking at vehicles as a tool for livelihood. And then when you bring in that perspective as well, the product that you end up with is something that's completely different, because as engineers, we have a tendency to create like the most cutting edge stuff and things that are quote unquote cool. But I think we are delivering to a market which is more concerned about numbers, number of hours that the vehicle can run, number of hours that it requires maintenance, and the number of rupees that you can earn per hour with the vehicle. So that's just an example.
All right. Shreyas, if you could share a very pivotal moment or experience from your time as a student that helped you shape your career trajectory.
So, I think, I think there's a part of me, that the 9-year-old boy that never really lost that fascination with automobiles, which is kind of what's culminated into what I do today. During my undergraduate studies, I was very fortunate to be able to secure an internship with Tesla Motors. And I think that's when I really started to realize that this is something that I could actually turn into a profession. This is something that I actually do and pursue, which really kind of seemed like a pipe dream, given that I was a computer science, major and things like that. And that's not really where my skill sets were. But I think that's just one, pivotal moment in my kind of journey as a student.
I think most of us will resonate here, because we are encouraging students from the high school to have as much as job shadowing and internship experiences, so that not just in a way of their perspective of what they would like to become or what the career field or the industry they would like to take up, but also through this learning, experiential learning, they will also be able to connect and align their kind of their perspective to an informed decision making. So I think this is a brilliant example of one of those, where the experiential learning makes sense. So Shreyas, again with you, in the hindsight, is there anything that you wished you had known or done something very differently during your journey from a student to a professional?
Yeah, I think, in the role that I'm in today, being able to manage people and being an effective leader is something that's quite critical and something that I've had to learn over time. And I think in hindsight, I think there's more I could have done to push myself to kind of maybe develop these skills. I think there were plenty of opportunities in high school and also during my undergraduate studies, being more involved in student clubs, student representation bodies. I think all of these things develop your leadership capabilities. It teaches you how to drive values, through a group of people, and also teaches you how to manage conflict, which is, I think, very critical in my role today.
I agree. I think we talk about, as counselors and school educators, about building 21st century skills, but I totally believe that, honestly, I think more than your academic qualification, unless you're in an absolute professional, industry or career field which you need, I think it's very important that we have such skills of communication, leadership, critical thinking, decision making and problem solving. I think they're very important, because at the end of it, we're social animals. We're gonna deal, even if you're creating machines like you mentioned, but you're gonna deal with people, and you would like to know how to negotiate and manage people as a team or as a leader. So I think it's very critical that skill building is taken as much as aspect. And in fact, with the new NEP that is coming in place, they are inculcating a lot of that in the high school curriculum as a major learning part. So which is fabulous with, connecting it with. So Kishan, how do you define success in your current role, right? And how did it evolve over time?
That's a very good question, because how does anyone define success? Is it money in your bank, right? Is it a positive cash flow? Or is it a great financial year? I always thought success was what you derive the most pleasure from. Is it even, be it professionally or personally, it's how happy you are doing what you are doing. Because at the end of the day, you spend more time in the office than you do at home, right? Even if you are the most richest, right? But there's no happiness in that. I don't think you're a successful man, right? So, or a successful person. So I just think success is derived from the happiness or the output you get from what you do. Evolved over time, yeah, success for me was getting to good college, get good IB marks. But that has evolved to a more holistic approach of life. Success is being in a very happy, loving marriage, being a great son. That is what success is to me now. Job happiness, the happiness you get from your job also. Even if it pays less, if you're happy doing it, I think you're a successful person.
Amazing. Yeah. So if I may have to turn it over to the audience here. What success means to you and whether you feel, are you successful right now? Are you feeling that happiness? Yes. Anyone who would like to share? Yes. Can we have the mic given to them? Is there a mic available? Shobita ma'am? Rashmi ma'am? If you could just speak loudly, would just add yes.
First time it's salary coming into my account, because that is more than the pocket money which my father or mother was giving. The next is recognition, and then it goes on with designation, and then it becomes, oh, no more designation, no more salary. I want pride in having the responsibility, the accountability. So yes, I completely agree with that, and I have felt the same in my career, and I feel very successful being a career counselor and able to tell students about it, that success is your definition, what you define. If you feel successful in going and helping people, go ahead and you will feel successful about it. But if you think that by being an HR manager who can fire without having to feel bad end of the day and sleep, then yes, you are the leader there who will feel good, and you can consider yourself successful. That's all I would say. Thank you.
For sharing. This is beautiful, insightful. Anyone else? Yes.
Yes.
Sandeep, right?
Yeah. Thank you. So, my success definition is slightly, as what you mentioned, maybe different. Because when I started working post my high school. So I just realized, when you were just talking about all this, so I started my career teaching students in the US who were the SES students, not very financially well, had trouble with the studies too. And I could relate with that because I was the same kid, the backbencher. Today I can help students. And at the end of the day, I just imagined when I was in 12th that I'll get paid around 30,000. Probably that would sustain me through life. I had no hobbies as such. I don't drink, I don't smoke. So 30,000 was well enough. Now I happen to have a home because of the job. I earn well, so I don't have to worry about the salaries as well. But that one text from a school counselor or a student saying that, Sandeep, thank you so much for helping, I think that feels like success. Right at this moment, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. So maybe the next year when we do this, it might change. So it's ever evolving. But yeah, that's what's success for me right now. So I really appreciate what you said.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, anyone else would like to? No one is successful, no one is happy? Yes, please.
Can you press the...
Good afternoon. I think we've got some beautiful definitions of success coming right from the dais and the members here, and my friend here has summed it up beautifully. Another thing that I would just like to add on is, the ability and the satisfaction of being able to touch lives, and to have an impact on lives and bring about changes.
I'm so with you because that is my definition of success too. That making a difference, even if it could bring a smile in that student or anyone you're helping, and I'm more than happy. It's like a reward for me. Then there's no other acknowledgement you need. So thank you so much. We'll move on to our panelists. And coming to Shreyas, how do you stay updated with the industry trends? Because like you said, the technological aspects are so constantly evolving and the advancements are crazy, right? So how do you remain still competitive and updated in your field?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is a mindset. I think part of what I do, because there's also a vertical that I run, which is into venture capital investing, specifically in the clean mobility space. So that kind of naturally lends itself to staying up to date with the latest trends. I never say no to an initial discussion with someone with an interesting idea. But I think I've also realized that it's meaningless for only me to be updated with the latest trends, because I can only absorb so much information, and I'll only view that from a certain lens as well. So I think creating that culture of staying up to date with the latest trends, looking forward a little bit more is really important. I depend on my team greatly to stay up to date with the latest trends and share them with me. We have dedicated teams to only do that and see how we can implement those into our products going forward. And beyond that, everyone in my team has a key responsibility area for learning and development and to stay up to date. So that's how I think about it.
Okay. And Kishan, if I may ask you the same thing, that how do you stay updated with the industry trends and the advancements to remain competitive?
Yeah, I agree with what Shreya said. In terms of absorbing only so much and having also your team help you in staying up to date with the trends. Technology has been a really major development in the past, let's say 10 years, right? Where everything is at your fingertips, with the introduction of AI, helping you stay up to trends, or even just a simple search, a Google search, which yields so many results. So there's multiple ways you can stay up to trend, right? What we do in my company is architecture, right? Every new project, the architect needs to find 3 new architects. Or for procuring any sort of material, the procurement team has to find 3 new vendors to procure the same material. And even in terms of, again, procurement, they have to find new materials for us to work with, sustainable materials for us to work with, because the trend right now for real estate is sustainability. Right? We account for one of the largest carbon footprints in the world, so how do we negate that by being more sustainable in our practices? Right? Using eco-friendly material, or using precast construction technology. So all these different kinds of ways are there, which the trend is right now for real estate. So I feel that these are some ways we can keep up to date. Also, my dad keeps telling me that you never see yourself above your competition. You always see yourself on par. You can always learn from your competition, right? Because every other building is a case study for me. What are they doing? What are we not doing? How can we do what they're doing at a better cost? So always studying the market, studying your competition or your peers helps you stay up to trend.
Amazing. So I think it really relates to what Ganesh sir keeps saying, that you're sitting on a chair, which is not about like I know everything. So it becomes more like arrogance and it pulls you down. But it's about I don't know much, but I'm willing to learn more, and that will help you grow and learn. Yeah. So thank you for that beautiful share. And in fact, I would just like to apprise you that SDG goals now are a part of our counseling. So right from the high school, in whichever parts, we're trying to build it up in our curriculum while teaching career and college counseling. We're trying to get it related with the activities and the sessions that we do with the SDG goals. So then they are already building their perspective in the long-term way that way. So it's beautiful. All right. So Shreyas, if I may ask you, that what mindset shifts are needed among students, parents, and school educators? So if you may want to answer very honestly, feel free.
Sure, sure. I'm also very fortunate to be serving on the board of my alma mater in the US. And part of the role of the board is to oversee various functions of the college, which also includes, career placements and what the employer sentiments are around recruiting from higher education institutions. And I think, from the perspective of my journey as a student and also an employer today, I'm seeing a trend where skill sets that can be acquired from an academic setting are becoming more and more democratized. And I believe, what that means is that the prestige factor around certain educational institutions are becoming less relevant. And I think, I'm seeing it today. Employers are really only interested in a few specific courses that you may take while you're an undergraduate student. And beyond that, they are more interested in what you do outside of the classroom. What opportunities are you taking to develop your leadership capabilities? What real-world work experience are you getting? I think those things are becoming a lot more relevant. And I think from stories that I hear from my peers and my own journey, I think there are multiple paths to achieving a professional goal. And sometimes those goals can change as well. And coming from that perspective, I think, the pressures that students undergo to get into a specific program or a specific university, I don't think that's very well founded. And I think as guides, parents, educators in a student's journey, I think it's really important that we, or those very stakeholders, give perspective to students to understand that there are multiple paths to achieving one's goals and to keep an open mind.
So if I may ask you, okay, Shreyas, in your company, you get two candidates. One who's done automobile engineering and gone ahead with masters into more specific into designing and everything. Yeah. So you have someone who's superb in academics and of course has some skills and stuff. He could be more someone whom you could kind of depend on in a way that you have confidence on. Yeah. Or if I bring you someone who's younger, maybe who's not very academically oriented with a relevant OK degree, maybe a school dropout, but skill-wise has built something and shown you something marvelous and out of the box stuff, what they've done across, and you can know that this guy has the skill. Yep. May not be like confidence-wise in you, depending on him in terms of maybe not be relevant in the future if he's not upgrading or whatever it is. Whom would you choose if you have to give that one job?
I think, if it really depends on the role, but I would be more inclined to give it to the second candidate that you mentioned. Yeah, I think there's nothing like hands-on experience, and it just simply cannot be replaced. And as an employer, I'd want to get to where I'm trying to get the organization to quicker, and so hence I would want to get more people who are further along in that learning curve.
Amazing. So I am sure all of us know that a lot of these big companies are coming up with people who are rather skill-built instead of academic orientations, and they're actually hiring them. And in fact, the research shows, which we've gone through in many ways, where even the school dropouts, not for a specific reason of certain limitations or weaknesses in the family or financially, but they've chosen to drop out of school and build onto their skills and their interests, and they have rather been way more successful earlier in life and then chosen a path to continue with formal education, and the companies are out and out there to employ them. So again, coming back to the point that building skills and their passion into certain specific things that they love is something very, very crucial compared to when we talk about the academic rigor. so we can encourage more and more students to get there. So, yeah.
Can I just add one more thing?
Yeah,
I think, because my industry, the electric vehicle industry, is relatively new. And as a result of that, it's not really something that you learn too much about in sort of an educational curriculum. As you mentioned, automobile engineering. And I think we're seeing more and more of these new age industries come out. So I think from that perspective as well, people with experience in that specific field matters more than what you learn, perhaps, while you're an undergraduate, because some of those things are just not there in the curriculum.
Correct. I think that's also one very important point, especially here, that we really need to be considerate about. Okay, so Kishan, one of the last questions for you. What advice would you give to the school educators on how to support and empower students who are considering to pursue especially unconventional career paths?
Yeah, I'm sure the educators and the counselors here would know more. They've dealt with children more than I have, but I can tell you from a third-person perspective what I can see. I think in a single word, we should support them, right? We shouldn't try to neglect what they're good at just because it doesn't fit the social norms, right? By doing so, I think we're just molding them into what society wants and not letting them shine on what they're best at. For example, let's say a carpenter in the US who dropped out of college is earning more than a person who did their undergraduate and is working at a low-paying job in the US. So what's the difference there? Just, because he didn't get his undergraduate, does it mean he's less off? No, but he's well off, he's more successful. And he doesn't have the debt that most people have. So I think we should let kids shine in what they're really good at. I think we should have a healthy discussion with them, have a debate with them to see if this is actually what they want to pursue, or if it's maybe just a fade or a phase in life. And I think if we nurture them in doing what they want to do, then they will excel at what they do. They'll be happy in what they're doing. And not everyone wants to be a doctor or engineer, right? And because of technology now, Instagram has become so famous. People are earning millions off Instagram, YouTube. Because of that, people are content writing for them, right? There's so many subsets of jobs because of the advancement in technology. So we don't know what anyone wants to become, but we just have to support what everyone wants to be.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. With that, we kind of conclude the formal panel discussion. I would leave the thing open for the audience. If you all have any kind of question answers with the alumni, anything that you would like to put it out there, a message, a question, anything. Anyone would like to, you can just raise your hand. Yeah. Can we have the mic? Yeah. Also, could we have the lights for the audience? We can't see them. Yeah.
Hi, I'm just asking this question to Mr. Shreyas. Of late, I'm seeing a difference among children. Initially, 10 years back, children, they start looking for entrepreneurship only after they do their graduation. And they'll come back and say, ma'am, I want to do so and so. But now we are seeing among grade 9 and 10 that they want to become an entrepreneur. But how can we guide them? Means you say you want to do medicine, you want to become a doctor, you can tell them you take medicine. But I want to become an entrepreneur, but I don't know what to do. So how do we guide those children?
I think, I never push too hard. I never push people too hard to become entrepreneurs because, I understand that's a big risk that one is taking, right? And I think, depending on individual circumstances, you basically have a limited amount of time to make sure that your entrepreneurial journey succeeds. So my advice to a young individual who's looking to become an entrepreneur is start small, see how it works, and also don't let it impact other areas of your life too much before you're able to see some amount of success in what your mindset is. Because if you go too big with a model that has not been tested, that's a big risk that you're taking, and not just in terms of time and resources, and well, not in terms of just resources and money, but also time, because as a young person, your time is also very important, and how you use that time is important. So that would be my advice.
So when is the right time to think? Especially, you started thinking about it after your master's or after your undergraduation?
I think I started thinking about it after my master's, but my master's was very shortly after my undergraduate. I think I thought about it quite a bit before I started to do anything. I did give it a lot of time. I did not want my entrepreneurial journey to risk anything else that I was doing at the time, my journey as a student. So I did give it some thought. I definitely spoke to people. I was creating this entire model on, spreadsheets and Word documents, etc., PPTs. But I never really actioned anything until I was fully done with my education. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I would like to add on to that question that everyone will have their own journey. So they will realize their own stages where they would like to really take this up. As an educator, how you could really, help the child understand the student, whether entrepreneurial journey is for him or her, will be giving that early learning experience. Let them know first what it takes to be, which is that particular domain that they would like to lead into. And then through those experiences, I think let them realize that whether this is right for them or not. It should also align with their skills and interests and the aptitude with their personality. So a lot of these things come from the learning experience we earlier shared about. So giving them exposure to that could help them at least realize whether this is the pathway they would like to take up or not.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
I have one question from Shreyas. He was talking about some EVs. Suppose a person came, he is not that much academically empowered, but he doesn't understand about the SOCs, converters, inverters. So what kind of skill you see from that person that you will take him? You told that you will prefer the more skilled rather than academic powered. So what skills you want to those people? Because now students ask me that what skills we go for, rather than going into the academic details, that SOC is, what is the charger and all. So what you will give us some idea about the skills?
See, I think, when I made that statement, I think it was more a comparison of two individuals, one who came from a very formal and thorough academic background, whereas someone who picked up skills through other means, right? And there are many ways to pick up skills. It's not that I would hire someone without a certain set of skills. It's just that I acknowledge that there are different ways by which you can attain those skills, right? There are courses that you can take which are outside of universities that you can take. There's just real world experience. There's projects that you can do. There's internships that you can take, right? And all those things come outside of the realm of academic, your academic setting and that mode of education. So I think the point that I was trying to make is that there are many different ways to attain those skills, and not necessarily that I would not want those skills in an employee. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we'll just take one last question. Ashima, yes, and then we'll conclude this.
Thank you so much. My name is Ashima and I'm from Legacy School, Bangalore. Everybody is talking about skill development. Everybody is talking about what we should be doing. I'd like to ask a little different question, which parents a lot of time pose, is, so we suggest students to take unconventional study routes in school. Go for these kind of subjects, it's okay, there's going to be a career for you. In pursuing an unconventional career, what role does risk-taking and adaptability play? Because this is a fear of each parent that they come to us with.
I'm sure as counselors, even we sometimes feel conscious, right, of letting them take it forward or not.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
It's open for any one of you all.
Yeah, it's intriguing because you'll have to weigh the pros and cons between do you tell them to take the conventional path, or do you trust them enough or believe in them enough to send them on this unconventional path? You know, so I would always think that the parents have this sort of an idea about their kid. If he's very creative, you don't want him to do PCM, right? If you want him to pursue art, you want to pursue music, or any of these unconventional subjects. So it just depends on the risk factor, like Shreyas mentioned. If the risk appetite is on par with what they're going to achieve, then I think they should really pursue it.
Yeah, I think I'll also just add to that, and I think I'll probably share something that's quite personal, but it's probably very relevant for this conversation, which is that, I think I say this with the acknowledgement that I come from, a very financially privileged background, which for me means that I look at other startup founders with such a great amount of respect, because I know that they are taking a much higher risk than I am. And I was just talking about this, that, capital and support and all that, ultimately it buys you time, right? When I look at another startup founder who has, a family to support, education to pay for, etc., when they embark on their startup journey, they are basically looking at, okay, I have this much time to make this work. And if I'm not able to make it work in this much time, then I have to go back and find a job, and I have to find a stable pay. So that's really the risk that they're taking, and that's the mindset that a lot of entrepreneurs come with. So as Kishan was saying, there is sort of pros and cons, but also there's this thought process that there's only so much time that one can take this risk before having to fall back on something else.
Thank you. So thank you, Kishan and Shreyas, for sharing your valuable insights today, and your perspectives on navigating the journey from student to professional have been enlightening. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for your participation, audience. We'd like to conclude this now.
Yeah, thank you. So before we go on to the Becoming the Change session, we had a planned networking, and I'm going to do a little exercise in speed dating within this area. And I'm going to invite some of our university colleagues. Can you just step forward? All of our university colleagues, can you come up? And just a few minutes of, and in addition to the university colleagues, I want to invite everybody from the school side who has traveled from outside Bangalore. Don't tell me I traveled 3 hours within Bangalore, so I'm from outside. I mean, that's also a feeling that I traveled from outside Bangalore when I traveled from within Bangalore. We all had, you feel that, ma'am? What do you feel like you traveled from outside Bangalore? So I want you to, and I'm Dr. Carolyn summoned me today, said that, Ganesh, your session was cut short in the morning, so you have to do more. And so that's how I'm here. Okay, there is somebody who traveled from outside Bangalore to attend this forum today. There's a friend from Kochi who was here. Trichy also somebody is here from? Please come, ma'am. You came to Bangalore for the IC3 Regional Forum. You are also invited on stage. These are all, and some of our university colleagues who are from Bangalore. Did you feel like you were from outside Bangalore when you came here, or still took you 2 hours, like a flight from Delhi or something like that? Okay, we'll spread out a little bit here. We'll have some fun because, educators became too serious in life. And these university people are also very serious about their universities, by the way.
So I want to take out the seriousness a little bit. And we'll have some, we will see how much you network today. So I'm going to make the university people talk about Greenwood High, one of them. And then you have to talk about their university. So let's see what happens here. If it bombs, who cares? It doesn't matter. We tried something new, right? Tell me, who amongst you feels confident to talk about any of the schools that you met with today? You can represent the school and talk about that school. Yes, we're going to go to you. Go for it. Don't tell us which school you're talking about. You will talk about the school and then we'll try to see if the school delegate can identify. Okay, go for it.
Hi everyone, I'm Gayatri. I'm supporting Fordham University in New York. So the school that I met yesterday, the uniforms were very colorful, just a hint. And the name of the school is also based on a color. That's a strong hint.
Now we're learning how university folks are good at breaking rules. We said you have to now, no, this was good. This is good. Fordham from New York talking about Vibgyor from Bangalore is a good sign. No? Oh, you were talking about Greenwood. Oh, I thought Vibgyor was like all the colors. Okay, so I'm really confused now. But Samiksha, you want to try? Okay, you are from California. What are you doing in Bangalore here?
So I went to a school which has a mascot. A school has a mascot. A high school.
Okay, which one? In Bangalore, which school has a mascot?
Yes.
Good, Vidyashil people are not here? Yeah. You didn't say that your school has a mascot. Yeah, okay, go for it. One of the things, and I think the greatest risks that we have is in-country people or travelers from universities become not counselors, but promoters merely of their university. And that ends up happening when there is disengagement. And one of the goals for us has been that there is engagement and conversation, that there is a very candid conversation like Sandeep had, that look, I'm not understanding why your presence will add value to my school in the month of July. What are you trying to accomplish? My students can learn about your program here. Now, this is a very open, authentic, candid, IC3-like conversation. And then the university says, I understand. What is the way that I could serve your kids? I would like them to know about what we do. Can I serve your kids through, a TEDx or whatever that one of our faculty has delivered? Can I serve you with something that can be shared in a newsletter that you have? Can I ask one of our faculty to deliver something? Or can I do something with 3 other colleagues from my region on the application process, which you would have anyways organized an orientation for your kids at a certain point? But this candidness, this openness that, look, I'm under pressure, don't pester me for a visit. At the same time, don't exclude us for no reason. Tell us. We collaborate with each other in ways that we have not seen. Otherwise, what will happen is we will morph into, we'll have people outside of this group, and we'll get lots of people who will become salespeople, and they're only going to sell their education to our kids. If we exclude, that's what's going to happen. And I am very keen that all university reps, and not just me, but our larger IC3 community, because many of them are volunteering with IC3, is keen that university reps are also college counselors. They are also guides and mentors. Their actions will lead to purpose in the lives of your children. And that interaction could just be through a WhatsApp chat or a Zoom call, and it may not need a school visit. How does this sound for a plan? Because we are seeing the adulteration of university representation. And we are saying we need to turn university colleagues, and university presidents are coming to IC3 for this reason. We are saying reimagine enrollment management as an empowerment function, not as a sales function, not as a mere recruitment function. That let recruitment be a byproduct of engagement and empowerment. And so, but they will need as much help from us on how to empower. They don't know what the story is, so we'd really like these conversations to continue. And that's why we want you to have lunch together. And we'd want you to interact. And that's why people, you know, they talk about what we're trying to accomplish. This is really what we're trying to accomplish. That everybody that the student engages with, the university reps or their school teachers or their principal or the external community, everybody is a counselor to the student. They are providing guidance. So for all those who have traveled from outside of the city of Bangalore, ma'am, now can you come ahead? Can we acknowledge you all? Can we have a big round of applause for all those who... I know the Bangalore people feel so tired already driving around Bangalore, but still, all of these people, and let's just quickly do a round on where they are from, which part of the world their institution is from. So go for it.
Hi, my name is Arshad. I'm from Mumbai, and my university is University of Delaware. We are in Delaware.
I'm going to make this very short so that we can go around this quickly enough. So you just call out your university name, your name, and the name of your institution and where you are from. And where the university is from.
Right, thank you. Hi, I'm Pallavi Sharma, and I work with DePaul University. We are in Chicago, Illinois.
Wonderful.
Hello, my name is Pranav Pradhan. I'm from the University of San Francisco in San Francisco, California.
Hi, my name is Yamini, and I represent the University of Liverpool. We are in the United Kingdom.
Hi, I'm Rachna. I'm representing Manchester Metropolitan University from UK.
Hi, I'm Harriet. I'm from University of Connecticut in the US.
Hi, I'm Prakriti Gaur, and I am representing Ahmedabad University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maya. I represent La Roche and Cléon, and our campuses are located in Switzerland, Spain, and in London.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gayatri, and I'm representing Fordham University. It's in New York, USA.
I'm Sandeep. I represent the University of Sydney in Sydney, Australia.
Hi, my name is Murali Krishna. I am representing Texas American University, College of Medicine, located in South America, Guyana.
Hi, I'm Ebrona, and I represent the University of Melbourne, that's in Australia.
Hello, this is Chitrakala, Principal of Adho Public School, Perambalur, near Trichirappalli, from Tamil Nadu.
Welcome.
Hi everyone, I am Jayanti, Principal of Chola International School, Tanjavur, in Tamil Nadu. Thank you.
I am Bhuma Priya, Adho Public School from Perambalur.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm from Global Public School, Cochin.
Wonderful.
Hi, my name is Samicha. I represent University of California, Santa Cruz. We're one of the 9 California campuses.
Hi, Daria here. I represent the University of Vermont. We are in Burlington City in Vermont in the US.
Thank you. And we are all from Bangalore, and we welcome you to Bangalore. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, everybody. Please take a seat, and we'll finish up. And all of our identities, if you want, click our name tags, which has our email, or go on the mobile app. That's a secret for all of the people. And you can come and now network with us after we finish in 20 minutes. There'll be networking outside. I'm sure Priya has organized something for us to network. And Dr. Carolyn is, I don't know why it took all these years, but I'm so thrilled to be in TISB because not just as Dr. Carolyn's first IC3 last year, helpful for many of the delegates who came, but she brought some great practices through the workshop that she delivered And there was so much appreciation. And then it was really, I would say, felt like love at first sight on both sides. Carolyn, if I can take that liberty. And she immediately told me, Ganesh, I would be happy, to be involved. And so now Dr. Carolyn serves on the presidential committee and is going to moderate one of the 3 panels at the presidential forum in Delhi, where we're expecting to be 4,000 delegates, by the way, from 80 countries. It's at the largest convention venue not just in the country, but I'm told now in Asia. So we're really, really grateful, and we're happy that we are here at TISB. But where do we go from here is the question. Do I go back and do the same things that I was doing? Or can I bring some change in my life come Monday? So how much gold dust do you think you have? 10 grams, 15 grams, 5 grams? Oh, you... Okay, you have a full set. You've already turned it into some jewelry, looks like. How many of you feel good about what you got out of today so far and the interactions, and you feel good? You got some gold dust? Some gold dust, lots in some cases. I forgot my jacket outside somewhere on the chair. I'm sure there are cameras here and no monkey will take it away or no. Because there was a school I went to where some of my stuff was gone and we found out that there were monkeys who took it away. So there was no way I could have ever retrieved it. But that's why it just came to me. But, what can we do as a community and where can we go from here? So I'm going to share some of our general call to action items for each one of you. And one is all of our school delegates can learn with the IC3 Institute. The 30-hour program is new. We have only had 4 cohorts. Our 1-year programs now, the 11th cohort that is starting. And in fact, both the cohorts of our 1-year program will actually be in their residential week during the conference week in Delhi. One at BML Munjal University, one at Shiv Nadar University. So now all the IC3 Institute current cohort members are also going to be in the conference. That's like a couple of hundred amazing counselors who are being turned into counselors, all our alumni. But you can actually learn principles. We just got Symbiosis University come on board as one of our host universities in Pune, and we are doing the second cohort of the Enrich program, which is for principals. It's a 3-day program, residential, for principals in Pune. So if you have a stubborn principal back in school who doesn't give you resources, doesn't help you, send them to us. We have the vaccination. They'll come back preaching counseling to everybody. This is a secret. It's just what happens in TISB stays in TISB. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So we'd really like you to, because some of the finest principals in the country and beyond have been humble enough to come and go through the principal training. The first cohort we graduated at Atlas Skill Tech University last year in November. This is now the second cohort of because principals have the power to bring systemic change. And so we would love for you to, 17th to the 19th of April, send us those principals that are not supporting you particularly. And then you can actually raise the bar with the quality of guidance in your school through the IC3 Institute accreditation program. You know, we've had some of the finest schools in the country go through the accreditation, HPS in Begumpet, Oberoi International School, KCI in Chennai. There are lots of schools, but it is not for the badge of being accredited. The IC3 movement or the IC3 Institute doesn't do anything for the theatrics of it. It is to raise the quality of guidance in your school. Putting your school's counseling department through the accreditation program is going to entail serving your parent body, serving your children, self-reflection. We have 7 pillars around which you develop counseling in a school. It's a self-reflective process. Typically, it's just like, it's an 8-month, 10-month process. Just like you get accreditation from any of these school bodies with CIS or IB or whatever else. This is accreditation only for the counseling department in school, not for the school. This is to raise the standards, and it requires tremendous amount of reflection. And it's a beautiful process. It's an elevating process. It's an evolutionary process. It's not a process for the outcome to get accredited. No, we don't want people to come to get accredited. And this is only for those schools that have a full-time, at least one full-time dedicated career and college counselor. At least one. If you don't yet, which is fine, then you do not qualify to go through this process. If you have more than one full-time career and college counselor, that's fine. But at least one. So this is something that you could look at doing. The resource library has hundreds of resources. How many of you among the counselor group are accessing IC3 resources in the resource library? Yeah, wonderful. So some of you are, and you have over 1,000 hours of recorded content on the IC3 Movement's YouTube channel. Now, we haven't really found a large philanthropic donor to turn all our content into more beautiful looking stuff, content and with lesson plans like a Khan Academy or something like that. But I would encourage you to use some of the resources. And then, just so that you know that the IC3 Institute is a public charity, we do not, teachers don't pay a single cent to go through our training program. But if you ever come across a family in your school, if there are CSR heads or HR heads who could help connect us with the CSR department, we need resources to scale this movement. Think about it. This morning, Ritesh ji was talking about 45,000 schools in Karnataka. We need teams, we need resources. IC3 has been evolving, and we've reached a point where I used to tell our team always, deserve before you desire. Today, I tell them now you deserve. And therefore, we are now fundraising. And I won't be surprised if tomorrow some of the biggest philanthropic donors are going to put their weight behind IC3. We'd have enough resources to be able to scale. We are already getting some, but we need lots more. So if you do find someone who may be interested in donating their time or their resources, please connect them with us. And there are different ways. University colleagues are here. We can, you can actually be part of the consortium for global universities if you're a university colleague. You can get some of your faculty to give us 1 hour a year, 2 hours a year. Among the universities, you should know that we have 300 plus volunteer faculty in the IC3 Institute. 300 plus. And the first university that volunteered their campus and their faculty was Ashoka University in India. 2018, I spent the whole week in September, and that first cohort has some of the best counselors in the country today. Sapna Goel at Mayo College, Vandana Murjani at Emerald Heights. They all are graduates. Soju Sajam from KC High. They're all graduates of the first IC3 Institute cohort. And so I would really encourage you to look at ways of collaborating. And there are many other pieces here. You can host cohorts on your campus. You could do a ton of different things. I don't know why this stopped. Oh. This isn't working? Okay. What did happen? Is this low on battery or? I want to invite all of us to be part of the annual conference in Delhi this year. All of us in this room, it'd be lovely for you to join us. We're going to be 4,000 plus delegates, hopefully. We are only publishing the number 2,000 in all our materials. But that venue, and we have one CBSE Sahodaya from Gurgaon that's already confirmed to be one of the partner Sahodayas. There are 52 schools in that. CBSE only. Forget Cambridge and forget all the others. So we are saying, and from all around the world, we have schools coming. This time we are welcoming 300 scholars from Latin America, from Africa. We are funding their travel also in many cases. Accommodation, registration. If you have a resource issue, we'll find you the scholarship. But imagine, this is going to be a truly global conference. This is a liberated conference in the capital of India after the pandemic. We've been in Hyderabad for 2 years after the pandemic, but we are really going to have a very special event. So I would encourage you to come, and it would be a transformative week. I'd also encourage you to share. There's so much wealth of information and knowledge in this Bangalore community. And among our university colleagues, how many of our university colleagues have started to build a session proposal for the annual conference? You please start building it. Mohita, school colleague, what are you doing? You're presenting this year. Where is Indira ma'am? You wanted to take a picture, no, together? We have to Photoshop. Okay. But you know what? We want everybody, we want each one of us to submit session proposals. And know that whatever you submit, and if it gets selected and you present it, it gets recorded and it will be on YouTube for the rest of your life. Thousands of people will benefit from it over the years. This is not a one-off exercise. That's why we do not invite people to just come and present whatever they think about it. They do research. They come to the IC3 conference prepared. And they submit what they are going to do. So 15th of April is the last date, the deadline to submit session proposals. And to register for the annual conference, there's a super early bird deadline, which is the 15th of March. So that's just in about 20 days' time. You must not miss that. Because this year we've planned some additional engagement together until we get to the conference. And we're really looking at a large number of people already being registered by the 15th of March or 15th of April, which is then the early bird. And then, of course, I said apply for scholarships if that's an issue, if resources are an issue. And then you can volunteer with IC3. There are lots of different committees. I would encourage you to find out more. I'll not spend too much time on that. You can become an IC3 advocate. We have many IC3 advocates out there now. They're really supporting this mission in different ways. We have what are called acts of change. And you can actually just, one act of change, one act of kindness, one act of, one thoughtful act can have a huge impact. And all of these QR codes lead you to that. We also, some of your students, they want CAS and they want other stuff, internships and whatever else. We have, for the first time, we have a global student volunteer program. And our first 4 student volunteers are from Mauritius. They are being embedded into our working groups, our committees, and they are getting 6 months of experience, 3 months of experience. So you can actually have some of your students. How many of you think you have a couple of students you'd like them to volunteer on some project or the other with? I'll tell you what, their college applications are the most well understood. Because every university that they apply to has come to IC3 from Cambridge to Cornell. And they are super excited about it. But we have a process to choose what students should be doing. And we take their skill with whatever area. If research, desk research is a skill, competence, what is their competence? What do they deeply resonate with? Human behavior is their interest. If they are really interested in psychology and human behavior, we will actually ask them to watch videos, do research, look at how people are responding to different kinds of speech, to different kinds of presentations, and then recommend for us how IC3 content can be elevated through the study of human behavior or through psychology. Everything that they love, we will tie it with a project at IC3. Does that sound like a plan, everybody? So it is incredible. If they're interested in history, they're interested in food, we will actually give them an internship experience or a project experience which is linked to their love. If they're interested with all of those things, we're actually going to tell them, if they're interested in sustainability, there's a lot that we are doing with this Global Student Volunteer Program. They'll develop skills. And finally, I want to now piece this together for all of us. I got some extra time courtesy Carolyn, because she said, I forego my 20 minutes because I want justice to prevail at TISB. You were robbed of 20 minutes in the morning, and I will send you with justice, and I'm leaving with full justice. I got my 20 minutes back here. But, while I ask you to explore the conference and all of the work that IC3 is doing and really come in and do what you can, I just want you to know that the chances are that we'll go back to our school and go back to our universities and go back to our homes and do what we are best at, which is repeating. We've actually become repetitive beings because that's really easy. When you go to the gym and you lift some weight, it really hurts the first couple of days. But after a week or so of being in the gym, I've, by the way, never been to a gym, as you can see from my build. But I'm told that it hurts, really, when the muscles are growing. It makes us uncomfortable. When I'm trying to bring change, there is going to be discomfort. At some level, there will be some discomfort. And I'd really like you to see what is going to make you uncomfortable on Monday morning. What is it that would writing a report on what happened today make you uncomfortable on Monday morning? Would creating a presentation and going and presenting what you learned about counseling as a much broader area of work make you uncomfortable? Would writing a project proposal make you uncomfortable? What is going to make you uncomfortable? That which makes you uncomfortable is where your growth lies. As a counselor, as an educator, as a university professional. What is going to make the university professionals uncomfortable? To go back and reimagine how to present their university to a school? Then I'm not really worried about not having people saying no to me. I am trying to break free from there and say, okay, what can I do to add greater value? And so the jewelry that you're putting together today is really about creating that value and going back to your school on Monday, asking yourself on the weekend, what have I been uncomfortable doing? What is it that I am trying to not do for some time? And you'd be amazed how much we operate out of our reptilian brain and how little we operate out of our prefrontal cortex or our thinking brain. We are getting out of the same side of the bed every day, having the same tea or coffee, brushing our teeth with the same toothpaste, taking a shower with the same soap, going to the same workplace likely, meeting the same people, having the same emotions, doing the same kind of things with the same kind of people, day in and day out. And then we ask, why is this parent freaking out when the child wants to pursue music? Hello? You couldn't change your shampoo. I mean, I don't use one, but you couldn't change your shampoo. I do use sometimes, I just want a matte finish. But the reality is that how many of you have tried this? Just take your watch out of your hand, or your ring, or your bracelet, and put it in the other hand. Just turn everything upside down. Whatever is in one hand, take it in the other hand, and the other way around. Just do it. I mean, some of our cohort members have tried this. Please do it. Everybody do it. Just see what happens. And we'll do this as we finish this today. I want you to finish with this. I am also doing it. Some people are naughty at the back. They may not be doing it, so keep an eye out on them. Okay? And how does that feel? How does that feel? Not comfortable, awkward, shock, stuck. You feel stuck. Yeah, it got stuck. Wonderful. Change makes you feel stuck. You feel uncomfortable, awkward. What else? Anybody at the background? Not so nice. It's also nice. Very good. Anybody else? What does it feel? Heavy. It feels heavy. Interesting. Change feels heavy. Because you're suddenly lifting weight, right? You're doing more than what you would have done on a Monday morning. You're actually going to write a report on what happened and how counseling can be central to a school ecosystem. You'd actually write to your manager at your university saying, look, we need to reimagine our school outreach, and that we need to be counselors and we need to be equipped to be counselors, and we will be able to open more doors if we did this. It may end up being an uncomfortable conversation. But really the way forward is to make ourselves uncomfortable. The path is not asking, what should I do? The path is asking, what makes me uncomfortable? And I found that when we ask that question, what makes me uncomfortable? What is that change that makes me uncomfortable? We're able to bring people along. We're able to then reason, share insights, and I would encourage all of us to do this. I've shared this story with some of our university colleagues may know it, and maybe even a couple of our school colleagues, but I'd share this with you. When I was in engineering college, in my first year, I got bullied. We had the term in India in engineering colleges called ragging. And ragging is you get caught by some of your seniors, and does anybody have a pen here with a cap, like a cap? Give me the cap, not the pen, the cap. So this is the cap of a pen, and I got caught and I was told to there was a bucket full of water, and there was an empty bucket, and I had to use this cap to take water from the full bucket and put it into the empty bucket. And if water fell while I did that, I had to start all over again. Just imagine this cap. All right, how much volume of water do you think this cap can take? And what's the volume of, I was a student of math, so I was doing my math and I calculated how many hours it would do in my head. And I did it with a lot of, at that time, a little bit of fun, a little bit of resentment, a little bit of anger. I did it. But that really taught me something very beautiful in life. And I realized that bringing counseling to every school, altering the approach that university reps take to how they approach schools and how they approach students, is going to be this exercise. We started in 2006, we're still filling the other bucket. Still not filled. The day we fill the other bucket, we'll have counseling in every school. But it's not an easy process. It actually starts with just this. And therefore, when you want to bring a change, suddenly, I never talked about counseling. I go and, some people after the regional forum go to their school and principal, ma'am, we are not doing things right. We have to change this, we have to change that. Tuesday, I'm fired. What is this forum you went to and you got fired? Hello, don't do that. You just need to take this on Monday morning and say, let me put a few drops on the other side. And we've begun the process. How many of you put this back into the original hand? Anybody who changed it back? Did I tell you to? This is how uncomfortable you are with change. This Poonam Maheshwari is an old counselor. I have to scold her every now and then. She's my old student. I have to really catch her. I had to take her around very strictly. No. Back again, Poonam, in the changed hand. So, very important lesson that we don't get frustrated. When we started with IC3, 2017 was the first year of the regional forums, empty chairs. People didn't understand counseling. They thought this is just this. And no principal would ever come to IC3, but we were able to change that. We have 400 principals coming to IC3, school owners coming to IC3. We have university leaders. Why would they go to a career and college counseling conference? No career and college counseling conference gets university presidents and chancellors and vice chancellors. You come and see how many come to IC3. Because the conversation is very different. It is qualitatively different. That this is about systemic change. Counseling brings peace. Counseling brings purpose. Counseling mitigates climate change. We are not looking at counseling in this narrow prism of college admissions. And so I'd really like you to go back, reimagine, do your research. And the approach must not be memorizing, repeating, and following instructions, or MRF. Approach has to be research, design, and development. Do your research on what this function could do for your school. Design a solution that is specific to your school, and keep developing that solution for your counseling department. That is the story. It is not memorizing how counseling was done in the past, repeating what has been done in the past, and following instructions of some figurehead that you think can direct you. No. That's not the world order. MRF is not the world order. It is research, design, and development. You do your research through the forum today, beyond the forum today. You design a solution for your school, and then you develop the solution. How does that sound, everybody, on the way forward? Yes? Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you for your powerful insights, Mr. Corley. We would now request Dr. Caroline to please present the vote of thanks.
Does it work? Yes, it works. Well, thank you very much. And this morning, Dr. Bindu, our director, and I were talking about how proud we always are to have visitors to the school. And I think, number one, it is because of our campus, and I hope you've all had a chance to look at a little bit of it. But also, I think it's because of our respectful, our open culture, where we are able to have high-quality relationships between each other as colleagues, but also between the staff and the students. And I feel that actually throughout the day, IC3 has been a perfect visitor here at TISB, because there's been fantastic open conversations that have happened today. So I'd like to all thank you very much for providing us with such vibrant conversations. Certainly in the leadership sessions, there was a lot of laughter, but also some really vibrant discussions and a lot of sharing of ideas and problems and solutions as well. And I don't know about you, but I've got a full set of earrings, necklace and a bangle to go away with today from the gold dust I've collected, because it has actually been very exceptional. But I think also as a principal, what has been really important is, and it's always really good to reinforce and remind ourselves, particularly as a principal, of how crucial the role of counselling is. And I don't think many of you may have been able to see where our college counselling is located, but it is in a central position of the school to mark its importance in the role that it has here at TISB. And it's also reminded me of how broad and holistic your role is. And I think you should go away feeling very proud of the job that you do in your schools, because it is exceptional. And what I do like about it is we're forever learning, aren't we? Forever learning, adapting, and sharing ideas and sharing good practice has been a wonderful opportunity here. So thank you very much for your involvement. I've got a long list of thanks, and I hope I don't forget anything. First of all, I'd like to thank the Estates Department for all the venues and making sure that your arrival and in a minute your departure will go smoothly. And also a big thank you to the boarders who were slightly restricted today in their lunch, so for being helpful. For the student volunteers, and I know, do you know, give young people a job to do here and you do not have to worry at all about it, because actually they far exceed your expectations. So thank you very much to all of you, and I'll likewise thank the volunteers that were here this morning. I'd also like Priya and her team to stand up and come out of the front here. Where is everybody? David, Sherwin? Are they busy somewhere else? Yeah, they're outside. I would just like to thank the team here, because I know that they have worked tirelessly. Rashmi over there. I think the men are outside probably. But unbelievable amount of effort to make sure that the day has gone smoothly, and we have learned a lot as a team, and I'm really very proud of them, and thank you all very much. And of course, linking with the IC3 team as well has been very important. Sadwani and Yogeshwar, thank you very much. And obviously to Ganesh for agreeing to come here and for all your insights. And you know, I'm always mesmerized when you speak, because I learn so much, and thank you very much. So I hope you've really found this very useful, and you've all enjoyed it. We have, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ms. Caroline. We now request Dr. Caroline to hand over our token of appreciation to the IC3 team members, Ms. Dhwani and Mr. Yogeshwar. Thank you, Dr. Caroline.
Now, we would like to say a few words about our school principal, Dr. Caroline. Originally from the UK and a qualified physics teacher, Dr. Caroline is committed to guiding and achieving excellence in all areas of education. She was part of the Great Britain Olympic rowing team in 1992, and it is through sport that she is committed to setting high standards and is constantly aiming for excellence throughout the school. She is well known and appreciated for her collaborative style. Dr. Caroline strives to be inclusive with both staff and students as well. And now we would like to call upon the head of college counseling at TISB, Ms. Priya Gupta, to please felicitate our dear principal, Dr. Caroline Pascoe. Thank you, Dr. Caroline, and thank you, Ms. Priya. Ms. Dhwani would now like to add a concluding note to today's event.
All right.
I'm sure all of y'all have had an eventful day, an insightful one, where you take back home a lot of gold dust, like Sir mentioned, and a lot of learning. Just for some of the counselors, we have some counselor resource handbook. In case your leadership was here, we've given one to them. It's only one per school, so for the ones who've not received, you could just meet me a little later, all right? Now comes the time where we say goodbyes. But I think before that, truly, from our heart, we would like to give big round of applause for TISB, the entire team here, as loud as y'all can, because they totally deserve it. They've done it with all their heart, and Dr. Caroline and Miss Priya and her team, I wish I could call all of them, Shobita ma'am, Rashmi ma'am, David sir, Pavan sir, Sharvin sir, all of them put together, including our heroes for the day. So why I'm doing this is basically my soul bows to yours for all the beautiful learnings that all of us could take, the privilege of just by y'all giving us this space and hosting us here. So thank you so much. Another thing is that we would definitely, as an IC3, would like to express our gratitude for the 2024 IC3 regional forums, sponsors and partners for their generous support, because without which we wouldn't be here and possible to give you out all the possible resources, for the learning. Thank you, Flame University, RV University, Texila American University, Guyana, CIALFO, Navrachna University, Vijayabhumi University, Michigan State University, Western University, Norwegian Business School, the AHA Movement, and the KIC Universist. Thank you so much.
From